Hello everyone. Should be live now. Just want to make sure that we're all good on YouTube and Twitch. Never be too sure these days. Occasionally, the stream will just not go live, which is not fun. How's everyone doing this Wednesday? Hopefully you're all doing okay. I have my sensitivity up just a little bit too high, but oh well. Doing a little bit more Daggerfall. Got the same mod set as last week. Yeah, everything seems fine. Got the same mod list as last week. But we were just, I don't know if you remember, or if you were here last week, we were just invited to the Thieves Guild, which is an interesting development. We should be able to perform this kind of introductory quest and join the Thieves Guild. So we have 91 days. It's a pretty simple quest. I have to steal a skirt from the Yom Ford residence in Garehouse Hall. So I've got 3 months to do it. But you know how my stealing and stuff has been. It's not been great. I'm not exactly a thief by trade. I think I forgot to add pickpocketing to my skills. So if you look at my skills, it's a miscellaneous. My pickpocketing, I've been working really hard on it through gameplay, and it's only at 5%. So unfortunately, I'm not a very good pickpocket. I'm doing alright. How about you guys? Just been busy, really crazy. The two-person team at work, and right now I'm holding the fort, so it's been real busy. Got these cool, it's not advertising them, but there's these cool, oh god, spilling everywhere. These cool cups I got on Amazon where you peel it off and then you add a fake coffee cup kind of top to it. So like instant Starbucks cup sort of. Neat idea. I guess it was like a really busy single dad or whatever. I didn't mute my phone the whole day. How rude of me. Anyway, yeah, so I gotta figure out, I have to figure out where this place is. Said Garehouse Hall. So where is that exactly? I should probably get off this wall. For some reason, something's pulling at my hair here. Just all out of sorts today. It's weird that the guards have a little, light, ring around them. It's kind of funny. Hurt a little bit, but I'm okay. So, Garehouse Hall. I'm assuming. Okay, that's not too far. It's less than a day. 13 hours. Well, I appreciate you spending the time for it, but yeah, don't be late and all drowsy for work, just on my sake. Yeah, there's a lot of movies I need to catch up for. There's actually like a ton of movies and shows I need to watch for preparation for my next Cyberpunk video, which I'm knee-deep in right now. Okay, so estimating time travel, 13 hours, sure. But I will want to switch to horse before I continue, because that horse is faster. And, yeah, see where this goes. It's, should be a fairly easy quest, but you never know with these things. And I'm super tired, so let me slumber a little bit. Uh-oh. Of course there's enemies nearby. Oh. I'm getting pretty good at this. Don't really need this stuff, but I could put some of it into my cart. Oh. No, stuff's particularly heavy. Okay, let me save again real quick. Yeah, I could never really watch stuff until I fell asleep. I tried. Ooh. I love how the eyes glow in the dark. It's so creepy. Such a great little effect. I don't even know how they did that, actually. I suppose they could have just made it so, they could have just made it so certain parts of the sprite are ambient lit, but however they did it really well. Oh, hey, that's great to know, Reptilian. Glad I am kind of helping spread the word. Yeah, I mean, I've been following this project for a while. I was actually, a long time ago, I was following Daggerfall, which actually seemed really, really cool. It was another attempt at remaking Daggerfall in a newer engine. They're also going to do Dark Forces and a bunch of other games. But it didn't... It got pretty far, but not far enough. So, just kind of stopped getting updates, which is totally understandable. Solo dev is incredibly difficult. Hats off to people who can do it, but yeah, it's a really thankless job. But Gavin and the team, they managed to do something great with this, and it's actually really awesome. I think it's mostly feature complete, playable from start to finish, and the mods have really kind of elevated it. Like it's a great, like, they just released this last patch, the classic mode. Attempt to avoid the hostile encounter. Sure. All right. They just patched in kind of a classic, like, vintage look for the game to make it look as close to the original Daggerfall as possible. So if you want like the close to vanilla experience, you can totally do that. But ooh, I should really rest. But you can mod it to, you know, hell and back, and it's kind of expected that you can do it. Like, I've got a lot of mods on here. If you look at my mod list on YouTube, look at that dynamic lighting and the shadows and all that kind of cool stuff. Really, really nice. I've also got Reshade, which hopefully Reshade is working. Kind of adds a little bit of warmth and color to it. I can't really tell if Reshade's working, actually. Yeah, it's on. I just don't have a whole lot on right now. I tried to get some nice... I can show you a little bit just for fun. I was messing with, briefly, what is it called? Cinematic depth of field. You just flip this stuff on and off. And at times, it looks super cool. Like, you can focus on this and you'll see stuff in the background is kind of blurred. Or the foreground's blurred. Really kind of neat, but the constant switching, and it doesn't necessarily target UI specifically, so some of the UI will blur. Occasionally, like if I was going to do screenshots, I'd probably turn that on because it makes it look really interesting. But yeah, that's one I had to kind of turn off just for playability's sake. Oh, Ross Embers gave me $5. Thanks, Roz. I didn't know until after last week that you're actually working with Julian and Ted. Can't wait to see future dev updates. Yeah, me too. Working at it. You know, obviously budget and getting a real production crew together. We've got a bunch of really talented people helping us with the project right now, but we can't really get on to full scale production until we get a real like working budget and employ everybody and all that kind of stuff. So it's still kind of like still getting out of that rut, but we've got some really good leads, and hopefully within the next few weeks we've got a pretty big announcement I'm hoping will happen. Don't hold me to that, but yeah, hopefully that's going to be the case. 3 gold, I will take that, sir. I'm fully healed. I should probably wait until morning if I'm going to be going to people's houses too. This looks really ambient lit though. It's 8:38. Okay. Should be early, late enough for people to... I'll rest 1 more hour. Lighting seems really ambient today. Hopefully it's not... Hopefully it's just this dungeon or just this place, because... I like my shadows. Love this song. Yeah, I've got Reshade on, and I'm pretty happy with my preset, but I'm always like looking at things to kind of tweak them. I like to have my shadows dark, especially in dungeons, but for some reason the ambient lighting in that one tavern was very high. I've not run into that before, but this is a really small town. They literally just have a tavern. Okay. So I should ask around. What is my quest now? I'm trying to find a specific house so I can steal a skirt. Because the Thieves Guild told me so. Yeah, I was used to the click and drag thing. And there's actually a logic to it. If you look it up, the up thrust is higher, is like highest accuracy, lowest damage. Side to side's normal. Angled is more damage, less accuracy. And down strike is highest damage, lowest accuracy. So it's got a little bit of mechanics there. But yeah, I for most people nowadays, not the greatest. If it would be redesigned today, it'd probably be like left click just swipes, and then if you hold it down and move a certain way, you might do like a special attack. I think that's kind of how Mordhau does it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's a lot simpler to think with. So well, thanks, Roz, so much. Why is my pop-ups not happening? For some reason my pop-ups aren't happening. I see your comments, but that's weird. Huh. Yeah. That's so weird. No, my Streamlabs should be up, but it's not doing the pop-up animation that I normally get. Huh, that's weird. You know, I did see your oops. What is I did see your I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out why it's not doing that. Yeah, we're not sure if we're doing Kickstarter or whatever. We're still looking at options. But yeah, we'll definitely let everybody know. The best way to be let known if you join the Discord or if you sign up with your email on the official website, temporary website. I'll do a big blast, email blast / Discord announcement when we know what we're doing as far as funding. So, it's just weird. I'm not getting the notifications for from Restream. That's odd. No, I'm totally going through Restream. But yeah, an entire guild of thieves is sending me to steal a dress. Okay, so yeah, sorry for not getting the little pop-up. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's set up exactly how it was last time, but for some reason the pop-up's not working. Occasionally Streamlabs just doesn't work. I'm not sure what. I have not changed any settings, so Yumford residence. Hello, ma'am. Places. Oh, first try. Didn't even have to really like. So I gotta get to the Yumford residence. Okay, cool. So first try. So it's right here. One of like 5 houses in this entire city. Okay, cool. Yep, got to steal a dress. So I may want to wait until nightfall. Unless I can picklock this thing. Oh, or I just walk in. Hello, ma'am. I need to inspect your house. I've heard rumors of leaks. You pick up the long skirt, you hear the soft rustle of paper. A note is tucked inside the long skirt. Oh. Seems like your house is all in order. Thanks so much. I'll be on my way. That was incredibly easy. Okay. Andister Mastersley Upmont. Okay. So I've actually got to, I've got a clue now. Oh, totally. I really appreciate the donation, man. I really do. I just feel bad when the little pop-up doesn't happen. Kind of gives you some recognition for what you did. All right, so probably Upmont. Where is Upmont? Location, regional. I guess I can just probably find it on my map. I don't need to actually ask anybody about it. Probably. Where's the tavern? Okay. So I bet, is Upmont in this place? Oh, it is. Okay. Only 8 hours away. Not too shabby. Let's try to get to Upmont. What's Upmont? That's not my name. Uh-oh. What happened? Where's this? This is Upmont. Wow, that was fast. Okay. Not even nighttime yet. Is that a door opening? Yeah. Let's see. Clothing and miscellaneous. It's a quest item. The cringy puns. You must be new here. Exactly. My horse can't climb walls. Although I haven't tried. I wouldn't be surprised if he could. No, he can't. Sadly. Climbing is pretty cool, though. I'd like them to implement something like the climbing system from either Breath of the Wild or Conan Exiles, because that's a pretty cool climbing system. I've not been able to get backwards climbing to work very well, though. Yeah, I have occasionally climbed back downwards, but it's a bit of a pain. It's dad jokes all the way down. Oh boy, so I need to find somebody here. What was the name again? Andister Mastersley. So I'll be blunt. Yo, Andister, where is he? Sir, if I knew, I'd tell you for sure. What I'd give to know about Andister Mastersley, I'm sorry, sir. Okay, so he doesn't know anything. Oh god, climbing down ladders and shooters has been a pain for so long. Either games like lock you into you have to use it, or they're just like, maybe I'll fall, maybe I'll not, maybe I'll survive, who knows. Okay, so Andister. Oh, she's very helpful. Okay, Master Smith residence. Nice. Can't believe I took street smart and not pickpocketing. I'm such a moron. Okay, resident. Master Smith residence. Okay, wait. So you're saying Masters Lee is in the Master Smith residence? Very weird. Yeah, I need to finish. I still haven't finished Witcher 3 either. So the greatest trilogy I'll never beat. That's my what I call the Witcher series. I hope I didn't overshoot it too far. Nope, we got some ways. Nice snowy day. What time of day it is? Sun's dawn. Sun's dawn. Crap, I don't know my Elder Scrolls months. It's probably spring pretty soon. think. Oh, I totally overshot it. Okay. Spam caller. Nice. Wait. That's probably it. Residence. Master. Okay, so that's it. Keep on forgetting there's info mode. Info mode is actually super useful. Oh, yeah, games with fall damage. I actually died in Witcher 3 from fall damage after falling off a pretty short stairwell. I was actually surprised. Easily the worst story I've ever had. Fall damage. I don't know if any of you were unlucky enough to play Anarchy Online on launch. Man, it came at a rough launch. There was lag. I mean, it might have been particularly bad because I was probably a little bit under spec my computer at the time, but there was really bad lag. I had one time where I was running over a hill, and let me visualize it. So you got this hill, and so I'm like walking out over this hill, right? And so I'm like, boom, 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 and it lagged, so it didn't detect that I had gone past the hill. So I was basically floating past the hill, and it doesn't realize that I've actually started descending, and so it calculates fall damage, and I died. I died from walking over a very smooth hill from fall damage. It just like it recognized that I'd reached the apex of the hill, but I didn't realize that I was descending, so it just gave me like a death full of fall damage. That was fun. That game took some patience on launch. I know, not Trying Worlds. What are the guys who did that? Funcom. I know they're kind of a meme, but some good games and good ideas, but man, I'm missing something. Don't you dare hurt my dear Anarchy Online. I liked the game. I thought it was cool. I thought the setting was cool. I liked some of the stuff. I had a badass guy. He looked like he was straight out of the Matrix. He had like a trench coat and some guns. I was like, and you know, I combined the two best. There were these two great emojis. There was the scratching your junk emoji and the fish emoji. So if you like scratch your junk and then do the fish emoji, you could communicate all the most important things in life. So yeah, a lot of great things about that game, but man, was it buggy on launch. So I need to find a man. Assuming it's a man. Could be a woman. Guess it doesn't really matter. I could just talk to both of them. And a steer. Yes, this definitely sounds like a man. Yeah, kind of like how they had magic style. I don't know if it was technically magic or if it was more like nanomachines or whatever, but I like how they had magic and tech guys. There we go. Another initiate. Sometimes I wonder if the guild can hold them all. Ah, I see they sent you after a mage's long skirt. It's a popular choice as of late. Okay. Were skirts never in fashion? I mean, I'm pretty sure even cavemen wore skirts. Oh, wow. You are now a member of the Thieves Guild. Whenever you enter a town, you will know if there are any guild buildings there. Unfortunately, guild rules say I have to pay you for this worthless piece of trash because you stole it in service of the guild. Here's a gold piece. I almost forgot. You're also entitled to a dungeon map. Here, let me show you where Druorlath is on yours. Hey, that's cool. I got an gold piece. Thank you, Alistair. It's pretty cool. It's like ray tracing 2D sprites for shadows. So freaking weird. Cool though. And a machine, son. Exactly. I don't know if Anarchy Online's still up. As of like mid 2000s, it was dead, but mid to late 2000s, but I don't know. It's possible there are still servers up. It probably is a lot more popular once they took out subscriptions. I mean, EverQuest is still up, for God's sake. So, sure, there's something. Oh, the Thieves Guild's just a house. That's why they're secret. I forgot about that. It would be kind of a giveaway if there was just some random blue building that's like, what is this? Is this a Thieves Guild? No, 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 no. This is a temple. Temple of what? What was that? Yeah, we're the Temple of Bragagum. I don't believe you. Residence. Ah, the Thieves Guild. Just walk through the wall, lady. I can tell by the sinister looking pig. This definitely looks like a den of thievery. Den of thievery. Oh, wow. Recent reviews is on Steam? I didn't notice. It might still be on Steam, actually. How can I help you, stranger? What about the armors? South. Okay. So it seems like everything's south. Okay. Well, I'll have to go south and check out the stuff. Oh, still going strong after, what, 19 years? I guess that'd be. It's pretty cool. Project Gorgon. I'm not sure about that one. Now, should I take a quest, or should I rest up and go check out that sweet dungeon map that I got? Where'd that be? Oh, it was, let's see, what was it? I can't travel indoors, but I got a map to somewhere. I totally forgot the map, but I'm sure I'll be able to find it on the map, on the world map once I do that. Oh, they got an upstairs. They got an attic. Hey, there's people in the attic. This is pretty swanky. Can I just grab this? Is it stealing? I should say before I grab anything. Griffin's feather. I'm assuming they're okay with me just taking stuff. They don't seem to mind, so take stuff I will. What's up? Sell magic items. Oh, I can't sell stuff yet. What other cool things can I do here? Training. Oh, heck yeah. Probably pickpocket. Or lockpicking. Okay, cool. I should actually train some more. Oh, it's much later now. I like how time progresses. That's so cool. Such a basic thing, but I like it. Remember when MMOs had ideas? No, MMOs don't have ideas. We just have to recreate WoW for the 50th time. That's what MMOs are. Man, that is a tiny closet. That closet is so small, the door clips through it. That is so small. Get anything into that closet. Closet is so small, it literally clips through this this wall here. It's a dimensional closet. It's like the opposite of a bag of holding. A bag of holding creates more space because you have a dimensional pocket. This wall is like negative space. This closet. I totally forgot where I entered this room. This house. I probably can't sleep here. I'm getting pretty dozy. I'm going in circles. This isn't a very big house. Am I crazy? Where am I going? Okay, it's just straightforward. Straightforward and left. Wait. Oh, here. Okay. Alright, there's plenty of taverns down south here. Mordred? No, I've not tried Kenshi yet. I want to, but goddamn, the game looks complicated. I'm like gonna have to prepare myself for that one. Heard great things, but yeah, it looks real. It's like it has a long runway, and just right now I've just got so much on my plate. It's hard to really dedicate a lot of time to something that like that. But I will eventually. Okay, tavern, please. So sleepy. Yeah, there's something bugged with the tavern lighting. Maybe just not all the taverns are properly working right now. I don't know. Maybe my mods are screwing up. Specifically with the taverns. Hopefully the dungeons are okay. Jumping and pickpocketing. Alright. Thanks, Linko. I'll see you later, man. We should catch up. Welcome from Linko's channel, whomever came with him. God, quick rundown. I don't know if I can do that on stream, but yeah. Primarily what we're going to try to do is push dynamic storytelling with a new game. It's going to have lore and really cool, really awesome, familiar but new. That's the kind of lore. If you're been into fantasy a lot, it won't be completely foreign. It'll be familiar to fantasy fans, but it'll have some really interesting new twists to it. I'll say that much. Ted could regale you with all the cool ideas he has, but the Dirty Fairy. Oh, I didn't sleep for very long. I should probably go back to the Dirty Fairy and sleep for longer because it's the middle of the night. But no, there's like, fantasy races. I think on our live stream a couple weeks ago, people were asking what you could compare it to, and we kind of said, like race and fantasy wise, you could compare it to Lord of the Rings, but in terms of tone of the setting, it'd be more like George R.R. Martin, like Game of Thrones style intrigue, betrayals, kingdoms, kings, queens, all that kind of stuff. So it's very much like a power struggle, and you're kind of caught in the middle of it, and that kind of ties in really well with the mechanics of the game, because the game is its focus is on you and how you can affect the world and how you can actually influence the game world, and then the game world will then kind of build its quests and stories around you. That's the idea. Dynamic, where instead of just doing whatever's given to you, like most games, they give you a quest that's the same for everybody and you just do it. The game will actually tailor the quests to your actions, that's the kind of main selling point, is that we can actually build a unique storyline for each player based on their behavior. We have an artificial intelligence game master, basically. A virtual game master that listens to your actions and reacts to them. So there's obviously going to be a lot of testing, a lot of development, a lot of I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pitfalls to run into with that, but I think some of the emerging gameplay that'll come out of it, I'm sure, will be really interesting. I've got stuff to sell for him, don't I? Might as well sell this stuff. Not incredible, but I'll take it. Hey, past 10 grand though. Yeah, Dirty Fairy. We have not started any crowdfunding as of now. We have to find the right balance for everything and the right method of doing things, because the thing is, like, if we do it wrong, we could it may not go right, and or might be over promising or under promising, and it's a tricky thing, because if you don't do this step right, the entire project could collapse. So we're trying to get the right scope of the game, the right budget, the right team, the right everything together. So it's a definite process, and as of now, we don't have all that figured out. Whoa. Oh, is this place not open? I thought it was okay, I guess you just decided not to open for a couple hours, Mr. Fancy Weapon Maker. Oh no, yeah, Chronicles of Illyria, that was, well, from what I've read, and again, this is just purely based on rumor and stuff, don't take this as fact, but the game was way too ambitious for what they were. The game was way too ambitious for what they were asking for one, because MMOs are incredibly expensive, way more expensive than single player games. But also there was just some real weird shenanigans afoot there, like trying to get people to back the game and pushing for like pre-orders like 2 weeks before you're about to drop the project entirely. That is pretty shady. Like, even like, let's say he was, whatever, I forget the guy's name, but let's say he was trying to get more funding to like respark the project. That's still like, what if half the people that you needed backed it? They'd still get screwed over. That's not a really cool thing to do. Even if you're trying to save the project, you got to be honest to people, like saying, hey, we're out of money. We need X number of, like, basically do an internal Kickstarter. Like, that's what they should have done. They said, like, okay, honestly, guys, we're running out of resources. This is what's going to take to be able to finish the game. We need to make this goal. If you guys back us up to this point, we'll hire and extend contracts and stuff to get this project done. But if we don't get to that goal, we'll refund your money or just not charge your card or whatever and go forward. Like, that's what probably should have happened. This is, of course, it's easy to speculate what would be the best option from like a million miles away, but I could have gone with that. I'd be like, okay, not ideal, but at least they're being transparent. At least they're being fairly honest. Because games, there's almost a constant guarantee. Games are always under budgeted and always overdue. Like, that's the thing about games. They're incredibly difficult to make. You never get enough money, the money that you really need, and you never get the enough time to get everything you want into the game. So that's generally a rule for like 95% of all game development. But yeah, it was just badly handled. So way too ambitious for the budget, combined with just very, very poor management and handling and semi-scammy fundraising tactics. That's what I've heard. Could be completely wrong, though. Dwarven Saber. Kind of neat. 5 to 14. Definitely a decrease in damage, though. More arrows. Oh, Black and White Sun. Started playing Unity Daggerfall as well. Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad you found this game. I mean, I've no involvement in making this. Gavin Clayton and a bunch of amazing contributors put this together, but so glad people are trying it out, because I know that there was definitely. I always had a hesitance of recommending Daggerfall wholeheartedly, because it was, honestly, playing the DOS version was a difficult thing to get into. There's still a lot of bugs. It's very unstable. sound glitches and all sorts of other stuff. But there's an amazing game in here, and so Unity is just basically making it way more accessible. And honestly, not everybody realized how easy it was to get Daggerfall. Like, you could have always gone to UESP or GOG or whatever and downloaded it, but you had to get it working properly and as smoothly as you want it. Because it was such a complicated game, DOSBox had a hard time running it sometimes. I'd have it so that it would either run it too fast or too slow. So, yeah. Overall, ooh, Elven Pauldron. Heck yeah. I'll grab that, good sir, hopefully. I think I'll also check out your other wares first. So, yeah, Daggerfall Unity is super easy to get running for the most part. If you just want the vanilla, like mostly vanilla experience, it's really easy. Modding takes a little bit of work, but honestly, it's not too bad. It does have beta support with the official modding tool that Nexus Mods does, but honestly, I was having issues with that, so I just started downloading them manually. That seemed to work better, downloading and installing them manually. Could always use more arrows. Oh crap, I've got 56 pounds of arrows. Maybe I should stop buying arrows. Look at that pauldron, though. Ooh, that's expensive. Yeah, maybe I should put some of my arrows in my wagon. That'd probably be good. Yeah, thanks so much, man. I'll have to catch up sometime, Linko. It would be good times. Hope you're doing well as well. I saw you had some a stream going on. I always like your weird stream promos, by the way. They're always really creative. Oh god, porting Daggerfall to Creation Engine. It's one thing that kind of ticked me off is when, like, no offense to the modder, I'm sure they did an incredible job, but people are saying like, oh my god, Daggerfall's in Skyrim now. And I think Zarek said it best, where it's like, people are saying, oh my god, have you played the Daggerfall Skyrim mod? And I'm like, the main quest line is probably the least interesting thing about Daggerfall. So you're basically taking, I mean, it's a good main quest line, but you're basically taking the thing that people least really remember Daggerfall for and putting it into a newer engine, because you could never get this in this, like, this is just completely antithetical to how the creation engine works. Just this gigantic world. I keep on tilting the map for some reason. So yeah, no, it's cool. It's really cool that they did that. I don't know how faithfully they did the Daggerfall main quest line in Skyrim, or how they even connected it all. It must have been a really small game world, just based on how that engine works. But really awesome that they did that, but I don't really have a whole lot of interest in that, because in the end, I play Daggerfall for the huge, expansive, non-linear fashion open world, not so much the main quest. Okay, steel stuff. Let's see. Steel helm. You got some boring equipment. I'm gonna go to the next door neighbor, who's also an armorer. Yeah, the scale of Daggerfall is what makes it interesting. The scale and the epic, the scope. It's just, and I don't know if you'd have to really dig deep to make anything resembling that in the creation engine. I don't know if it's possible. I mean, you'd have to basically rewrite the code, and at that point, I don't even know if that's covered under the license anymore. That's a pretty sizable town. It's even got a castle. Yeah, Charlotte, same. I'm not really one to pursue the main quest in Bethesda Elder Scrolls type games. It's the This sounds sappy, but it's the journey, you know, the friends you meet along the way kind of thing for me. And not so much the quests end. I always like the design of these places. They're always so weird, unmistakable. What's up, man? Not much going on. Still weird that there's organs. I thought that was a much higher technology thing, but could be wrong. It's probably the tower. Yeah, it's the tower. Yeah, I'll probably die from fall damage if I try to jump down there. Oop, that's dead end. Yeah, I think I'll go try to find that dungeon that I was given. Go to map to go see the dungeon. Those are always interesting. I could do a Thieves Guild quest. I was just... it's mostly just trying to get into the Thieves Guild because I created a bard, which doesn't really belong into anything particularly. There's no Bard's Guild or anything like that. I applied to join Knights of the Dragon on kind of a whim, and they accepted. So I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. But I was probably more of a thiefy type because I'm trying to do sneaking and things like that. Speaking of which, I could probably buy some training before I go. I'm actually surprised I've not leveled up again. I guess I should probably use my main skills more. I don't think I've used my main skills a whole lot since I leveled, actually. So that's probably why. Ooh, I gotta go. This is a big city, actually. You don't quite realize how freaking huge these cities are. Like, literally, not to get on a whole Skyrim bad rant again, right? But see, you count here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. Roughly, there are entire towns in Skyrim. There's one entire town that's 4 to 5 buildings. There's a picture of it on the wiki. There's like 4 to 5 buildings. That's the entire town. So that's like a town in Skyrim. This is the town in Daggerfall. I don't even remember the name of this place because it's just a town out of hundreds. Kind of insane, right? And yeah, they could clean up the way it's generated, but considering this was tool assisted generated content, it still looks pretty good. Considering 1996, you know, come on. So hopefully we can kind of match and exceed this to a great degree in terms of making it look more like a real town and not just like a random spattering of buildings. Yeah, I'd say this isn't a small town. This is like a medium-sized to large. This is actually a fairly large town. The actual city of Daggerfall, I think, might be a little bit wider than this. It's actually a pretty tall city, actually. But yeah, so this is pretty. This is probably in the large end, but still, just one. There's probably there's literal dozens of cities this big. That's not a town. No, this is a town. Exactly. Yeah, I should get. I've been doing the Indigo cast so rarely that I try to kind of make it a little bit of an event each time I do it, just because I've got so much else to worry about and work on. So it's definitely not going to ever be like a weekly thing, at least not for a while, until I can actually do something like this as a main job. But I just jump with the horse. All right, you can jump with horses. I forgot. But yeah, no. Razorfist would be cool. I think we could probably do a podcast without him getting too political. I'd have a rule about not getting political on my channel. So, I mean, he's got an incredible experience with a lot of games going way back, so we probably have a lot to talk about. Somebody mentioned G-Man Lives. I've bantered with him a bit and talked to him a bit. He's a pretty cool guy. Wouldn't mind having him on the podcast sometime. Speaking of Crocodile Dundee. Quest. Somebody had a quest here. Or no, I'm just trying to get training. That's right. Yeah, let's do training. Lockpicking would be good. So he probably only does one training per day, or per probably only train once between sleeping. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this could. There are definitely cities bigger than this, but this is on the larger end of the city. I don't want to overhype the game and saying this is like a tiny city. There's definitely cities smaller than this. Like technically that one town I had, which had about 5 or 6 buildings and a tavern, that was also a town. But yeah, pretty huge. I was talking to Julian, and apparently they tried to do circular towns and other shaped towns, but there was a glitch where if they did a circle, some of the buildings would intersect the walls, so they decided to go with the stable, simple square. So that's kind of interesting. Little development facts that you hear about. Okay. So I definitely need to sleep at some point. Let me... Dungeons. What's that? Is that water? Is that a speck of water? Oh, I see. A couple up here. There's the Gathering at Belladara and D.R.E.A.M. Let's go to D.R.E.A.M. Oh! Attempt to avoid it. Nah, let's fight it. Where? Hello, Mr. Orkman. Should probably pull out my, Oh, ivory. Dwarven Helm. Yeah, there we go. Moving up in the world. Okay, so wagon. Remove. I've heard about the mods that add new locations to the game. I've not played them, though. There's actually a mod. This is how crazy it is. There's a mod in Nexus mods right now that lets you turn off the main quest of this game. That's how crazy. There's so much to do that's not the main quest in Daggerfall that some people prefer not to have it at all. Yeah. Oh. I don't particularly like nighttime encounters. Those are kind of spooky. Oh, arrows. I see them. I have arrows as well. I'll pull it out eventually. I don't know if you can see it, but my everything is darker when I pull out my bow, probably from my HDR. Done with that now. Let me go back to my sword. Ow! Oh shit. Okay, she might actually kill me here. Pull out sword. Ouch. That hurt a bit. Okay. Yeah, I know. I've got it modded out beyond what a lot of weaker computers will be able to do. Not incredibly, insanely demanding, but you know, definitely takes a little bit more horsepower than your vanilla game. I don't want to get too much into the main quest stuff, but we're basically trying to make a game that isn't gonna shoehorn you into somebody else's story. I'll say that. We've debated that, but I think people like to have some sort of guidance in a game, but we're not going to shoehorn you at all and just forcing you to do something that you don't want to do. That's the thing we don't want to do is force you into somebody else's story. Okay. Attempt to avoid it. Oh, avoid it. Nice. Off to Drulath. Yeah. All right. Yeah, there'll be a better website. We're trying to get some things nailed before we get too much into details. So I have a draft of the website, but honestly, you want to nail down some stuff because once you put certain things out there, some people take it as a promise. So you don't want to promise something that isn't necessarily going to happen. So yeah, we're nailing some things, and cross my fingers. Hopefully, within the next few weeks, we'll have a pretty solid grasp of what we're expected to launch with. So that's the idea. Yeah. Don't want to promise the moon and then not deliver. Okay, Conan. Get a shirt, will you? Steel Warhammer. I'll leave it. I'm gonna rest up a little bit before I go inside. Cool. Yeah, a lot of those Wing Commander games and especially the spin-offs were really ambitious too. Guess that's kind of shows you how Chris Roberts, he was kind of thinking of that huge scope type of game that early on. Hope it ends up happening. I just development's been too sketchy for Star Citizen for me to really put my money behind that. But I've said from the beginning, I would happily eat the biggest humble pie if that game comes out as half as good as they are saying it will be. So definitely hats off to them if they pull it off. Never wish for a game to fail. You know, that's the thing. Like, some people kind of take an enjoyment, but when you think about it, like, it's a pretty awful thing to do. Like, wish for somebody's years of people's blood, sweat, and tears to end up in failure is pretty awful. That just makes the whole industry worse, you know? Absolutely, if you disagree with what somebody's done with a franchise or whatever, definitely vote with your wallet. That's the only way you can actually affect the industry. But don't... I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do, but I personally don't ever wish for a game to fail. This is a horrible place. Okay. Hanging bodies and everything. How's it hanging, guys? Oh, you're playing Star Citizen? How's it holding up? I played a free weekend a couple years ago, and it was barely playable, so hopefully it's in better shape now. It's just like, I can see what they're going for, but I'm just terrified that they're working on an incredibly, constantly evolving, incredibly early build rather than finishing one aspect of the game. Like, if they were just like completely finished ship combat, at least you have that. At least you could do like arena ship battles or whatever, and that'd be fine. And then completely finish one aspect, but they just kept on adding and adding and adding and adding, and not really getting anywhere with any one thing. That's what I kind of saw, and I'm like, ooh, that's scope creep is a really dangerous, is a really slippery slope. Oh, this rat's wily. Oh, Star Citizen. I mean, It depends. I think I might have even played their... I don't know if they'd switched to Lumberyard by then, but I think I might have played their CryEngine build. It was not well optimized at all, but yeah, I mean, if you want a big player base, you gotta kind of have... You have to have somewhat scalable graphics. I mean, you can usually get the relatively same game experience with lower level graphics. You just can't go quite as crazy with the special effects and textures and all geometry and stuff. Oh, hey, Sean Fairservice. Thanks for the donation, man. Cyberpunk. You like the Cyberpunk video? Good job. When are you dropping the second part? Good question. I'm in the middle, knee deep in that right now. Not right this second, but, you know, working on it almost every day. Really trying to figure out the... Oh, God. Good thing I just saved. That giant just gave me a wallop. Sorry, back to your question. Yeah, my little pop-up's not working today for some reason. Yeah. Why is it not working? So weird. Yeah, it's on there. It's just not working. Part 2, I'm shooting for a summer release. I just finished episode 1 and released that, and then I started the process of working on episode 2. Oh my god, this giant is tough. He hit so hard. So I'm doing one at a time. I didn't like do all 4 episodes and I'm just waiting. That would be an incredible amount of work, and I'd probably give up if I did it all in one go like that. Episode 2 is going to be much longer. Have a lot more topics to cover. When I started plotting this out, I started basically finding every single major book, movie, game, or show that I would consider cyberpunk or cyberpunk related, and put that into a big list. It's over like 120 different titles right now, and I divided that up, and then I found that 1990 to 1999 was like the densest decade of all. So that's episode 2. So episode 2 could quite possibly be the longest of the 4 episodes. Definitely longer than part 1, possibly longer than part 4. Part 3 actually might be the shorter of the series, depending on how deep I get into Deus Ex, I guess. But not a whole lot came out during the 2000s. Some good things and some things people probably forgot about, but yeah, 1990s is going to be the dense episode. In fact, there's like 10 titles that came out in like 1995 alone. So it's really a lot of stuff to talk about. So yeah, summer release. I'm not going to give you a date just because that date won't be kept. Oh, this guy's got his back turned. How about I shoot him with my bow? Yeah, I know they take months and months, especially juggling it on top of a full-time job, and now I'm working on game development as well, so it's... Ah, backstab. Heck yeah. That was cool. Can't hit a rat? Okay, got it. So yeah, it's a ton of work, because I have to script it, I have to verify all my claims, statements, come up, second draft, third draft, corrections and stuff like that. I'm correcting stuff while I'm in the booth recording, literally. I have my mic in front of me, my cell phone reading from the script, and I'll be like, is that true? And I'll actually like look it up and verify it on the fly, or rewrite a sentence just because I can't get the words out that way, or various reasons. And it takes me several hours to record these things, and sometimes weeks to edit the audio, because I'm so bad at actually getting the takes right, to be honest. So yeah, it can be several months. Ooh, Dwarven Daikatana. Hey, that's better. Nice. Got an upgrade there. So yeah, it's an incredible amount of work, and it's just, I mean, it's a kind of passion project for me, and I'm glad people like it. I didn't really see a single really comprehensive Cyberpunk documentary. There's that one back in 1990 that had William Gibson stuff. That was mostly, it was practically an interview with some fancy like editing for the time. There was that really weird William Gibson starring documentary called Cyberpunk, also around 1991, which was just more of like a fever dream than anything. They showed some interesting things like early 90s VR and stuff like that, but man, that was a weird experience. So that's what kind of made me want to do the Cyberpunk documentary miniseries, is that I wanted to make a complete kind of overview of the last 40 years, I guess. So really ambitious, and way more ambitious than I even thought I was going to be. I was originally going to just do like the origins of Cyberpunk, like the 80s, 90s, but I realized that was... What are you doing, pal? Yeah, so it's a lot of work. And I'm hoping that people appreciate it. Maybe people already have appreciated it, but hopefully when it's done, it's appreciated even more, I guess. But yeah, it's a lot of work. Even my quick video in the interim kind of took a while, the Netstorm video, which I did just to kind of stop the gap because it had already been several months. And also I'd gotten in, I had this minor surgery and other stuff too, so it's just been a hell of a year. So yeah, I'd like to get back into producing more regular content, but recently my videos just become incredible time sinks. You're a Spoonie fan. You know what waiting is, that's for sure. Man, I'd love for Spoonie to come back and make some content, but oof. That guy. Yeah. It's amazing how many people want just like an optional drop-in, drop-out Fallout experience and Elder Scrolls experience, and how it's never been made. I mean, you don't have to make a full MMO to just add some semblance of multiplayer. Yeah, I know. I watch a lot of Razor Fist content. We probably get a lot. We have talked a lot, and we get along really well. He actually commented on my very first Daggerfall video way back in the day. Said it was basically what he would have done if he spent the time on it, which is really, really high praise. So yeah, thanks for the donation again, Sean. Really appreciate it. Oh god, there's all these giants. I didn't know this was gonna be a giant dungeon. Oh my god, this guy's hit so hard. Oh, I better run. Run away. Yeah, no. I'd like to talk to. I got killed by a rat because I was already almost dead. Yeah, all but like 2 of the or so of the mods that I installed, maybe 3 or 4, are on Nexus mods. Nexus mods is just really handy to get everything in the right place, latest versions and stuff. A couple of the mods that I do like though aren't available on Nexus mods yet, like the oh, I'll pick lock this. Does not unlock. Okay, I'll break it. Tedious Travel, a couple other things weren't on Nexus mods yet. But yeah, it is really nice service if you just want one place to be able to download all your mods. So definitely recommend checking them out. They are good peeps. Really help extend the lifespan of a video game if you have a really active modding community, that's for sure. I don't think Bethesda would be really anywhere nearly as far in the PC market, at least without the mods. I honestly don't know how many mods the console users use, but now that they're more officially supported, this is an interesting a little bit here with the dungeon. Oh crap! Oh, and I got repel mode. Hey orcs, I come in peace. These things are actually kicking my ass a little bit here. The depth over breadth, it's a bit of a, it's a trouble. Like I can see that the depth versus breadth argument applied for and against a lot of games, including Daggerfall. Like, people say, oh, Daggerfall is the same thing repeated a million times, that's why it's so big. That's partially true, but it's also not true. Like, there is a lot to do in Daggerfall, and a lot of the things you can do, you can't do in the later games. And the sheer scope means that you're not repeating the same exact environments. Like, how many times you go back to Whiterun? How many times you go back to this one place? Because there's only like 5 decent towns in the entirety of Skyrim, for example, right? Here, you can just go to different countries if you want to. You know, just you'll never explore it all, so you're constantly discovering new things. Are they slightly altered versions of things you might have seen before? Sure. There's an infinite amount of detail and variation. So by that standard, you will see things again, but they're rearranged. I'd rather have slightly varied things than seeing the same things over and over again, personally. But as far as depth and stuff, a lot of games say, "Oh, we would rather have a very curated, very impactful, deep experience that can be played once than a less polished, much more varied, replayable experience." And well, that's perfectly fine as like a design goal, I think. The problem with that happens is that they usually curate the experience into one specific path. And I mean to open a wagon. The wagon's bound to the same key as movement. The issue I have with that is that it's just too. It's like connect the dots eventually. Like, sometimes games just become connect the dots. Okay, go to A to B to C to D to E to F. Wow, that was incredible looking. Wow, the voice acting was so great. Wow, these graphics are incredible. I have the exact same experience as 5 million other people. And I don't know, like, it isn't just about being special. It's just about, like, what would I do in that situation? And a lot of game makers kind of take away the, ooh, a magic pauldron. That's kind of neat. Kind of take away the agency because they think they know better, or they know what experience they want the player to have. Like, they're trying to get they have some great twist or some great plot development that requires the player to have experienced A, B, C, D, and E, and F. And so they craft this very tightly woven path for the player because they want them to have this really great experience. But what if the player doesn't want to take that path? What if the player has their own path, you know? So by trying to enhance or to, you know, make a deeper experience, so to speak, they may be taking away the actual player volition, you know, taking away their control and their ability to actually make choices and take actions beyond what they're absolutely intended to do. So I don't know. That might be just a bunch of babble, but basically saying that a lot of games who claim that they're being deeper rather than wider aren't as deep as you think, or as they'd like you to believe. Oh, this is interesting. I've seen this piece before. This is a really rare dungeon tile. Oh boy, ow, that hurt a little bit. I could possibly, yeah, I could get up there if I climb. Let me do that. Oh, thanks so much, Charlotte. Sorry my pop-up thing's not working. Wanted to say thanks for all the entertainment and having nice people to chat with in the community. Also, would you consider streaming Wing Commander Privateer? For sure. I've not played much of the Wing Commander series. I actually bought almost all of them on a GOG sale recently. I don't know if I bought Privateer, though. I'd have to double check. I bought the mainline series, but I don't know if I have Privateer. I'd have to double check on that. I'd be interested in trying it out for sure. I actually been more interested in the stories and the FMV cutscenes in those games than the actual gameplay, because the gameplay looks a little dated. You know, as I'm playing Daggerfall, I realize the irony. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to trying them out if you recommend Privateer. I've heard that a lot of people like that game. I keep on getting them mixed up. That's different from Free Space. So is that more of a mission-based action shooter, or is that more of like a sim? I think as you're describing, it's more of a sim, right? Where you can actually kind of do your own thing. Okay. See, if what Zaba's saying is correct, if Privateer's more open world and do whatever you want, I'm much more interested in that. I like to Star Control, and some of those other games where you just kind of do your own thing, kind of make your way in the universe. Oh, elven boots! I almost threw those away because they look just like chain boots. Oh, I already have elven boots. Well, guess I got another pair. But yeah, I really like the sim kind of games where you kind of make your own way in the universe, run into weird, mysterious stuff, etc. So I'd be down to try it out. Yeah, I mean, I love the old... there's some actually really famous actors in the old Wing Commander games. There's Malcolm McDowell, obviously, Mark Hamill, John Rhys Davies, I forget his name. He's going to hate it for it, but the Biff guy. The guy who played Biff in Back to the Future. Yeah, no, I'd be down for playing Privateer. I'd be very interested in that. I could be interested in that. Oh boy. Vegas playthrough. I probably lost all my save files on that, so I probably have to start over. Actually, that might be on my other computer. I switched computers this year, so I could potentially pull my old save files, but then I had to install the mods again. Definitely revisit it, but it'd be a bit of a process. I'll have to remod it, and my particular set of mods were really unstable. Once you go past a certain point with Oblivion or New Vegas, because they basically run on the same exact engine, they get really, really unstable. Like, sometimes you'll just run it and they just won't run. They'll just crash right away. So I'll have to revisit that, but I wouldn't mind playing it again. I had a lot of fun with that. The mods were very really changed the experience quite a bit. But that was some of my most popular streams. I remember people really enjoyed that. So I do have cloud saves enabled. I may have been using the GOG version. I don't know if that game was cloud saved enabled though. I'll have to check. Maybe it is. I don't know. Again, I think I do technically have the save games. I think I copied my entire user folder over to the new computer, so sometimes games have surprised me with what they remembered, but I'll have to double check on that. It's not a guaranteed. Lost so many great save games. I actually never finished New World, Wolfenstein New Order, because I lost my save game, and it did not have cloud backup at the time. Yeah, this was a few years ago. This was not too long after my Fallout video, actually. Back in, I think, 17. Was that 17? Yeah. So this was a couple of few years ago. It was a good stream, though. Good few streams. I'm going in circles now. So I don't really have any objective with this dungeon, just to explore it. I would like to get back up there. I did get up there, didn't I? There's some more places I can check out up there. What, is that a secret door? No. Okay. Yeah, no, I had some good times with New Vegas for sure. Hey, Lerpish. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I didn't build the Daggerfall Unity. That was all on Gavin Clayton and his team, but I'm so glad I helped you find it, and I'm really glad that those guys made this. It's an incredible product. Very rarely is such an ambitious mod, complete total conversion recreation mod like this ever actually brought to completion, but they did it. I'm actually still shocked that they did. I'm incredibly impressed by what they've done with this game. And because it's so well done and was built from the ground up to support mods, the modding community has been incredible so far. So oh, it's so great. Yeah, I'm so happy that people are able to go back and try games like this. I mean, it definitely helps the rough edges go down easier when you update it with mods and things, and even just Unity itself is basically a highly more stabilized, smoother version of the game. Runs at a higher frame rate, higher resolution, a lot less bugs, etc. So I'm so glad that I was able to bring you onto it. Yeah, because I've played and streamed the original several times, but it is a bit daunting sometimes. It's almost like the Dark Souls of DOS games, because yeah, it can get hairy if you're not careful. Especially one of the tricky things was if you got stuck in a dungeon without recall or miracle. If I could pick this lock, huh? No, okay, didn't succeed that time. If you didn't have levitation or the recall spell, ooh, Daedra Heart, that's kind of cool. You could get stuck in dungeons and then have to rely on climbing or something like that, and that was always a real challenge. Because climbing, as cool as a feature as it was always very unstable in the original game. Oh yeah, isn't that cool when you become a werewolf? Totally unexpected. They did not advertise vampirism or lycanthropy at all for the game. That was basically an Easter egg. Kind of crazy, right? I don't know if I became a werewolf or wereborn on one of my streams, and I just woke up and like, whoa, I must be glitched because I saw that my stats had changed. I didn't realize that I had actually caught lycanthropy, and my speed stat was over 100 and everything. It was awesome. Oh, got 2 of them. This guy's hit so hard. No. You go grunt at something else, sir. Love the sound effects. This guy at all. Oh crap. Ah, crap. I'm not hitting this guy at all. So much damage. Nope. Still coming at me. He can't fit through the doorway. He's too big. Yeah, you can get really powerful at a very low level in this game. Levels aren't the end-all be-all that they are in other games. I think my big time character was like level 12 or something. Hey Jerry User 420, how's it going? Speaking of leveling. Excellent timing. Alright, so 5 points. I'm not gonna get a full thing. What am I hurting at mostly? I suppose I could probably use more health, more. I mean, get to hit. The hit is probably my biggest pain point right now. Yeah, agility. Which I probably had to level up again to be able to actually get a +1 to those things, but yeah, I like the challenge of traversing dungeons. Like, actually, I don't even have recall on my characters, and a lot of my characters I never even got recall. One of my streams, I even played a completely magic incapable character, and it definitely tests your patience, but But if you're able to get through a dungeon... Oh yeah, the HDR effect is a little bit... I'm watching the stream. HDR effect is a little bit on there when I pull up my bow. You feel like a badass if you're actually able to get in and out of a dungeon. So I kind of like the challenge. But maybe I'm just a masochist. Oh, finally, backstab. Only took 20 times. Oh, maybe I only hit him once. Maybe I was hitting a wall. Well, good thing I bought like 300 arrows. Yeah, I've rarely... Oh my god, 2 more? How many freaking... That's cool. I just saw a shadow of my... Oh god. Saw a shadow of my arrow from the torch. Alright, a couple more good hits. I'm trying to get my other skills up. Son of a bitch. Another hit. Oh god. No. Oh, wrong way. Wrong way. Oh, he fit through the door that time. Okay, I'm gonna run the other way now. That little arrow shoop sound is a miss. I'm connecting, but I'm not. It's not actually doing any damage. And there is actually a mod for that. If you'd rather the always hit but damage is modified kind of system that Oblivion introduced. There's actually a mode for that. There's a mod that actually replaces the dice roll mechanics of Daggerfall with always hit, if you prefer that. Oh my god. Come on, guy. I'm gonna run into another one, aren't I? Come on, you bastard. It's like one more hit. Come on. Finally. Oh. I shot a lot more than 14 arrows into him. This game's talking about. A fat bunker boy? What? I don't understand. What are my thoughts on Stalker? Super interesting game, really unstable, especially with mods. I built a modded version. It doesn't feel like I'm actually playing the game. It feels like I'm kind of like creating it when I play Stalker because, goddamn, that series is rough. Super cool though. I installed the one. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically combines all 3 Stalker games. Stalker and its two like spin-off standalone games into one world, unless you start from like 9 different places and from different factions and whatnot. I love that concept, and from what I played of it, super cool, but it would basically crash in every zone, and I could never figure that out. So unfortunately, I did that for my Perfect Fallout sequel video, actually, because I wanted some Stalker footage to put in that game, or that video, because I wanted the video to kind of combine a lot of different aspects and ideas from various different games. So I took footage from lots of different, Fallout games and Stalker and vice versa. But yeah, I know I love Stalker. I just wish it actually played. That's my problem with Stalker, is it just doesn't work. It doesn't just work. That's my problem. If Todd Howard could remake Stalker, it'd be perfect. Just joking, by the way. Yeah, no. I'm also using the optional. don't know if you noticed, but in Daggerfall Vanilla, you just draw your bow and then you press the button, it instantly shoots. There's a mod, well, not really a mod, it's just this optional setting in Daggerfall Unity, which lets you, makes it so instead of just shooting, you have to kind of draw your bow back and then shoot. And depending on the timing, you'll get a bonus or minus modifier to your damage, which is kind of cool. Carrying too much to stay afloat. Alright, well, guess I'm not floating. Oh god, I don't have water breathing or anything like that. I'm not gonna be able to do much down here. I just wanted to see if there's something here worth, but I gotta head back. Get me out. Yeah, if I was a lot lighter and didn't have as much encumbrance, I'd be able to actually swim down there. Or if I had water breathing or water walking. Yeah, to do much of anything, you either have to have incredible swimming or cast water breathing so you don't drown, and then water walking so you move at normal speed. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know a couple of people who are working on a different kind of Daggerfall-like games. It's definitely a challenge, but interesting learning experience. Not you. Come on. I fought enough of your friends. Helps to have a map. Oh no. Typo. The Crypts of Greening. Okay. Nice. Good to know, Mr. Giant. Yeah, there's a couple games. I actually played one that's kind of similar to what I was talking about, but I'd like to play like a Daggerfall roguelike sometime. That'd be kind of fun. Roguelite game where you permadeath, but you start out and continue on as another player. That'd be kind of neat. That one game I kind of streamed on a whim that one week. Can't for the life of me remember. Slasher's Keep. Yeah, I think it's called Slasher's Keep. That was kind of interesting. It was kind of like a Daggerfall, like first-person dungeon crawler. That was a roguelite. That was kind of neat. It had a really interesting art style. It looked like it was had a very kind of somewhat cel-shaded look. And did that? I think that had 2D sprites as well. It looked really neat from what it did. You could also craft your weapons and, combine hilts and blades and things like that. It was pretty neat. Had some cool ideas. So here's the big room. Yeah, I mean, I'd say I always said that Fallout 1 has a better storyline than Fallout 2. It's a much more simple, straightforward, clean, and the villain is better. But Fallout 2 is just so much bigger and broader and lets you do so many more things. So if I had to pick a favorite, just because I'm more about the overall non-linear experience, I would definitely pick Fallout 2 over Fallout 1, but not to say that Fallout 2 is actually extremely derivative of Fallout 1, so it didn't actually introduce all that much. Cleaned up a couple things here and there, but Fallout 1 did the heavy lifting. But, yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd definitely say Fallout 2. Or if I had to pick a game out of that series that I love, I'd say Fallout 2. That's an interesting little bit up there. I bet if I climbed up the walls. Oh. That's what the switch does. Okay. There's probably something over there then. Oh, how much you can see from the stream. It is pretty dark, but I'm looking up at the ceiling. Come on now. And if I can climb up and then grab the ceiling, which is a new feature in Daggerfall Unity, is climbing on the ceiling. Oof. can never freaking get it to work. Cool feature, but man, yeah, it doesn't really like to work sometimes. So that's how Switch does. It moves it from over there to over here. There's just no real reason for it to be. I don't export over there, though. Well, that gives me a reason to pull the Switch then. Okay. Did I export over here fully? Not really. Yeah, the time limit kind of sucks, but if you're going to play Fallout 1, I highly, highly recommend you search Fallout Fixed. It's Fallout F-I-X-T. It's basically an all-in-one mod for Fallout 1. You install it over a working Fallout 1 installation, and what it lets you do... how do I get back up there? Through over here. What it lets you do is it lets you... zoom in here. Turn around. Over here. What it lets you do is it lets you change all the stuff about Fallout 1 you don't really like. Like, it actually lets you change the penalties for missing certain deadlines in the game. It lets you change how the super mutants react, and also lets you completely remove the time limit if you want to. So if you love Fallout 1 but don't like the time limit, you can get rid of that. So yeah, as you're installing Fallout Fixed, you can change all the things it changes. You can set all the things it changes. So I definitely recommend checking that out. That makes Fallout 1 a lot easier to get into. Because yeah, time limit definitely makes the game a lot more stressful. Indigo Gaming sub gang. Oh yeah, I got my little custom emote with the with the LaCroix. I'm such a traitor. Not even drinking LaCroix today. I'm drinking Forto energy coffee and something we started getting at Costco. It's kefir soda. It tastes like a very mild Sprite kind of. It's like a kefir, kind of like a kombucha, but it doesn't taste like kombucha. It tastes like a very light Sprite. But what's nice about it is it's like probably a quarter of the calories of something like... Wait. Calories are... I'm trying to remember. It's not nearly as bad as all the sodas. Like a third of the sugar and stuff like that. So it's actually not... It's very mild and not too bad. So if you want something slightly sweet, you can go with that. If you want something not sweet at all, you can go with LaCroix. But yeah, I need to get back into drinking LaCroix because this quarantine man's definitely been helped me put on the pounds. Okay, so I'm gonna climb up there, pull that switcheroo. Yeah, I mean, the game doesn't end once you find the water chip in Fallout 1, so if you just do that first. But, here's a big but, there are other, not to spoil anything, but there are other hidden time limits after that. So you actually want to keep up the pace no matter what, because then, like, actual towns and things could be affected. It's a pretty ambitious game, actually. For a lot of reasons. But yeah, things will happen over time if you don't hurry up. Fallout 2, it warns you about your quest, but as far as I know, nothing in Fallout 2 is... The main quest in Fallout 2 is not time limited. I've went off and done some crazy long side quests and not had anything affected. You'll get some weird messages from your like town elder or whatever, but that's about it. Shaman guy. Hey Russ, yeah, sorry the pop-up's not working today. Thanks for the donation. You asked, have I heard anything about Black and White being uploaded on GOG? I have not. That's probably an EA property. I'm guessing it's probably, I am 99% sure EA owns the IP, so unless they find it in their best interest, I know they have a couple games. I think they have a couple games on GOG, but no, I've not heard anything, to be honest. It'd be awesome if it did, because I think that being brought back on an official platform could really help. Because one thing I'd love to... Whoa! I just got a surprise scorpion. Damn. Alright. One thing I really, really want for Black and White, I've not actually looked to see if it exists, but... we've been online for a while. Oh yeah, no, I heard about the Club Penguin thing. Apparently somebody on there was pretty shady, so it got taken down. Like the guy was actually getting arrested in real life for other things. So, but also, yeah, I mean, it sucks, but IP holders can do that. If you own the IP to something, you can tell people no, you can take your game down and tell everyone not to use it. Unfortunately, that's the thing. That's the fact of it. And Disney is extremely litigious, so they can totally do whatever they want with their IP. But I heard about that. It's too bad because a lot of people just want to play Club Penguin. I can understand that. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I feel for you. It's just unfortunate when a company doesn't find it worth their time to keep a game alive, but still pays their their team of lawyers. That's the worst. You know, there's some companies that don't do anything with an IP for years, but don't really go after people. So if you want to kind of unofficially bring something back, you can. Like that's kind of what's been happening with, last I heard with Hellgate, is that yeah they don't really own aren't legally able to bring it back online, but they did anyway, and the people that own the IP don't really care and aren't really pursuing them. But try that with the Disney IP and you'll be in trouble. Especially if you do something with a Nintendo. God. Entire sites have been taken down. Okay, so what am I doing here? Have I already explored this whole side? Is that the entire side there? That's a little bit disappointing, gotta say. Technically, there's a door over here that I've not done, but I was kind of expecting something a bit more. Yeah, there's been some pretty bad. I heard like third hand from somebody there who's researching it. There's been some pretty bad revelations with not the whole community, obviously, but a few bad apples in the community. So, yeah. Just know that whenever you do something unofficial, look at your legality, and if you can't really find a loophole or a not loophole, that's a bad way of saying it, but if you can't legally justify what you're doing with somebody else's IP, expect them to go out to cease and desist you if you work on that. There's actually a pretty interesting article that I refer people to by a lawyer, I guess. I think he's a lawyer or somebody who's dealt with video game law or whatever. But the title of the article is something like "A Fan Game Can Ruin Your Life." Something like that. That's paraphrasing. It might have been a little bit different from that, but basically saying that even doing something as innocuous and innocent as making a fan game to something you love can ruin your life. I made tons of fan games when I was a kid. I never really, a lot of them I never end up releasing publicly. Obviously never charged anything for it. But yeah, if one of these companies went after you with the full extent of the law, they could actually totally ruin you. Drive you into debt. You know, go after you for damages, etc. Like, it could really, really screw you over. it's no joke, especially, in the States, like possession and intellectual property is a huge part of the law. Hey, Dwarven Flail. Neat. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I've been in so many cases where I'm like, man, I really wish that company would do something with IP, but they could technically just ban any attempt to revive it while also doing nothing else with it. That's totally within their legal right. Sucks, but I mean, that's the way it be. But yeah, no, a couple communities gotten with it, but yeah, long-winded way of saying that. I think I started with black and white. No, I haven't heard anything. I'm assuming somebody had to probably. It would probably have to happen is somebody like. Probably somebody like Night Dive Studios or whatever would have to like basically sub-license black and white or something like that and get it on GOG, but I honestly don't know if it'd be profitable. Love the game. A lot of people really want it. It's actually one of the highest rated things on GOG, so they probably immediately have 20, 30,000 people who would probably buy it right away, but I don't know if that would be enough for the effort. But it'd be really cool. Like, I don't know how possible it is, but I'd like somebody to do like a total conversion of black and white 1 into the black and white 2 engine. I don't know how different they are. I think they probably swapped engines between the games. I didn't do that much research into the technical side of the games. But black and white 2 still looks amazing. Black and white 2 looks awesome. It just is so much more shallow than the first game, unfortunately. But if they took all the great things of black and white 1, put it in black and white 2's engine, combine some of the cool stuff in black and white 2, like, oops. Ooh, caught myself. That was close. It'd be totally awesome because there's so many things that have not been done since black and white. That was a very experimental game. And you could even argue that black and white was basically the most expensive tech demo ever made. And you'd probably be right. Because it wasn't fully formed, but what it did things that not really any other game tried to, which was awesome. Yeah, I know. Even not charging for something, if you're providing something with somebody else's IP, you can still get sued for it and damages. Like, just because you're not selling it doesn't mean you're not violating stuff. The only exception to that is if it's transformative enough and if it's transformative enough to be considered fair use. But releasing a game basically identical to somebody else's copyrighted and licensed, fully protected IP, that's not transformative. If they did something, like if you did a parody of a penguin, that might actually fly, but it had to be significantly different. That's why, for example, you can use footage from a movie or a game in a review. That's fair use. That's transformative, and it's presenting critique, or you don't get the entire experience of the movie by watching the review. Like that's one of the criteria. And again, fair use is super vague, and is not nearly clear defined or enforced as much as it should be. But transformativeness, you get the full experience. Like if you ask a few questions, is it transformative, i.e. very different? Is it a parody, or is it an interpretation, or is it a analysis, critique of it? Do you get the same experience from this as you would with the original IP? If yes, then it's also bad. There's some other points too, I don't remember them all, but basically with the Club Penguin thing, you're basically getting the full Club Penguin experience. And it wasn't interpretive, it wasn't fair use, it wasn't anything. It was just the full IP basically. So that was the big stumbling block, is that Disney has every right to just shut that down. They could even go after the people for damages too, but I don't know if they are. I think we're done. I think we're done with this dungeon here. Yeah, laws are imperfect, but without them, it'd be a real mess. Man, if you couldn't enforce copyright, you could be buying Gears of War 6 and not even realize it's a knockoff. if copyright law wasn't enforced, like, you've ever seen those really weird, like, horrible knockoff covers of movies and video games overseas that use, like, Han Solo, Jean-Luc Picard, and, like, the troll from Lord of the Rings and put it on a cover and call it, like, Lord of the Star Wars 5? It'd be basically that. We wouldn't know what is actually official, what is actually licensed, what is actually made by hacks, and what's made by actual creative people. So it'd be a bit of a mess. So there's a good reason why intellectual property laws are enforced. Oh. Yeah, I haven't found a perfect God game either. There was one I think I backed. Again, hugely risky, so I wouldn't recommend people jump on that. I might have actually finished. Oh, Dragonling. Hey, Dragonling. Actually, not nearly as hard as they look. But, yeah, super ambitious God game type thing. But what was I going to say? I actually forgot what it was called now, but it was like a Unreal Engine 4, heavily inspired by Black and White. It actually looked a lot like Black and White. That one might be pretty good. There's also Universe Sim, which is a bit more of like a sim game than a God game, but it definitely fits the bill. But I've also been kind of wavering on a couple points. So I'm a little bit kind of on it. They like announced the game and it had this really cool intro, and then it got super dark and the world just exploded and you saw aliens and you're like, oh my god, this game looks crazy. And then they, at like 2 or 3 years after the first after the Kickstarter was completed, like they did a poll, would you like aliens in our game? And people were like, it was in the MF trailer. What are you talking about? Like they were like completely thinking that was optional, even though they pitched the game with a huge, crazy, world-exploding endgame of alien planets and space exploration and stuff. And it's like, it was just weird. And maybe it was just a new social media person. They didn't really know what they're saying. But I was like, I remember seeing that post and like, guys, you did watch your trailer, right? But yeah, Universe Sim was... Hopefully it's good. It's definitely slow. I wish they'd gotten like more than the first 2 ages done by the time they released the game. That was a little bit disappointing. Ooh, Holy Omen of Mara. It's actually a pretty tall hill. That's a pretty cool view. But yeah, I wish... Oh, Elven Claymore, nice. I wish I remembered the name of this other one, but you can search God Game Kickstarter. There was another game that I actually released right around the time I released my God Game documentary that I missed. Or no, sorry, they didn't release. They did a Kickstarter right around the time I was releasing my God Game documentary. Again, I forgot the name of it, but there have been a couple. So hopefully somebody does Black and White justice. Yeah, and to say nothing of IPs, we were talking about how that server was associated with Predators. I'm pretty sure Disney doesn't want to be associated with Predators, so yeah, it's another strike against that server. They're kind of a business completely based around children. Be a little bit damaging to the brand. Got a sunset, kind of neat. interesting dusk coloration. I'm glad that this mod exists for the sky. I just wish there was a little bit more life to it. The sky is a little bit barren, but I'm super glad that it does exist. I just wish there was a bit more detail and texture to the skies. I was kind of just a hangers-on to the original sky format just because I like the detail on the hills and the coloration and stuff of the vanilla Daggerfall skies, but some kind of combination would be cool. I'm swimming through ice water. Is this like a garden or something? Oh, yeah, it's the hedge garden or cemetery, one of those two. Thieves Guild. Could stop at the Dirty Ferry again. Yeah, it just takes a couple bad apples to ruin a community, doesn't it? It's like some of the people that think that Discord is some sort of haven of criminals and cyber terrorists and stuff like that, and you're like, dude, we talk about video games. But just a couple of communities happen to use that platform as an IRC chat, and then everybody thinks that everybody on Discord is some sort of terrorist. Like, nope, not really. It's not really how things work. Alright, let me sleep. Oh yeah, well that is true. That is objectively true, Shalashashka. 4chan, Discord is the place where you find the notorious hacker known as 4chan. It's good that you made contact with them in cyberspace. But I hear the cyber police are going after him. Yeah, when they find that hacker known as 4chan, things are going to go real south real fast. Yeah, absolutely. Consequences will never be the same after they find the hacker known as 4chan. That's true. Wow. Who did what to her Cheerios? Okay. Should I do some quests here? Should I go to the Thieves Guild? I should probably do a Thieves Guild quest. Now that I think about it, I've just been kind of wandering around, and I did get that free map, so I went and checked it out. I should sleep more though. Oh, it's just not even midnight yet. Okay. For a while, 10 hours. You don't think the hacker known as 4chan will ever be found? That's a possibility. But if the cyber police get on the job, then the consequences will never be the same. So that's the real the big if, though. If the cyber police get involved, especially if the cyber police take the information superhighway, then they'll definitely find the hacker known as 4chan. That's a guaranteed. All right. Okay, so got the Thieves Guild over here. I love the music in this game. It's so great. I do not like the layout of this Thieves Guild. As soon as I find another Thieves Guild, I'm gonna move because this Thieves Guild is not. Oh, is this stuff respawn? It does. That's great. I can just like. Oh, that's my wagon. I can just grab things off the floor whenever I feel like it. All right. Well. Sell magic items. Oh. Alright, well. Damn straight. Get some training. What do I need to train up on? I've been mostly running into issues with lockpicking. But stealth would be good too. Oh, I'm actually too high on stealth. Okay. Backstabbing. Cool. Is this guy give me the quest? Maybe the guy downstairs gave me the quest. Probably. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying, Yobra Kanub, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. It isn't completely unthinkable. I remember one time, they didn't sell the remakes. What they did is they said, they worked with Steam. Okay, this is a few years ago when some fans put together Deus Ex Revision. Squeenix worked with Steam and got, or they basically co-promoted on Steam, say, hey, if you buy the Steam version, you can play Deus Ex Revision. And so they basically officially endorsed the mod without selling it. And I think that was probably the best solution, because that way they don't like support the mod. They don't like officially have to then be accountable for the mod, but they can help promote the mod to their official client base. People are like, oh wow, if Squeenix is saying this mod is good, it's probably pretty good. It's, you know, if the official IP owners are saying it's decent, then it's probably okay. And then it helps resell some more of the copies of the game. The game was like $3 at the time, so it was no big deal. But if they did something like that with Oblivion or Skyrim, I think that'd probably help drive some sales. Get quest. Listen, Cornell, we've got one of our family who's in trouble. You got a couple days to help out one of the family? Yes. Good, Redguard. That's my Redguard. Something about that makes me kind of laugh. All right. One of our best cat burglars in the Rusty Dog Pub is holed up in a rat trap called the Toad and Chasm. On his person is a hot stone he lifted from the palace. Now the word is that somebody saw it on him, and the guards are casing the place. Out of respect for the owner of the Toad and Chasm, they're waiting 5 days before moving in. Get over to the Toad and Chasm and give Tristor Harthley this hunk of lodestone in exchange for the ruby. And then you bring it back here, you understand? Good, now hurry. There ain't time. Indigo, tell me more about your music taste. What's your favorite band and why is it Green Day? Ugh. Not Green Day. Definitely not Green Day. Respect Green Day. They were kind of one of the more original punk bands at the time, but there's a couple songs I like from them, but as an entire library, no, not really. My music tastes sound really kind of hipster. The risk of sounding really hipster, pretty eclectic. I like a lot of different things. If I had to pick one genre, I'd probably pick electronic. I listen to a lot of video game music, either official soundtracks or remixes. Like if you go to ocremix.com, they've got a ton of amazing stuff, and not at all what you think video game music sounds like. Some of it's completely orchestral. Sometimes it's like heavy metal rock. Sometimes it's like dance music. Sometimes it's jazz. One of the things that blew my mind early on, this was probably about 10 plus years ago, OC Remix released a French rap version of a Final Fantasy VI song. I'm not even joking. Lyrics and all, French rap version of Final Fantasy VI. And I was like, okay, they got everything now. So I listened to a lot of OC Remix, a couple bands. What am I listening to a lot now? I'm kind of just collecting some kind of interesting Spotify playlists recently. One band I liked a lot for a while, but didn't last very long. I mentioned that a couple times. Was an indie electronic rock band called Inner Party System. They were probably my favorite band for a while. Their last album was a bit meh. It was a bit more just kind of mainstream, but that sounds makes me sounds terrible. It was a bit more like, it was like very like kick snare, very very basic beat. But the original stuff was really good. Like their first couple albums were really really good. Kind of weird, interesting style to them. I don't really like them as a band so much, but I was into Incubus for a while. Probably my favorite song for a long time was Dig by Incubus. For some reason, that song just really, really got stuck in my head for a while. So I should get out of here. I don't have a point of reference for gray mold, so I can't say what. I appreciate Green Day, but I've not ever been a huge fan of that kind of music. I like occasional punk stuff, but yeah, Green Day was not always my favorite. Yeah, a couple songs. Some of the songs from Incubus really kind of irritate me, but Dig by Incubus for some reason I love. And then, what are some other bands? I mean, back in the 90s, I was super into, and I still am into, Nine Inch Nails. Listened to some Queensryche a lot. Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, a bit of Nirvana. What are some other bands I got into a lot? Yeah, some Pearl Jam here and there. Still a really big fan of Nine Inch Nails. His stuff, it doesn't always land for me, but some of his newer stuff was okay. Like his Ad Violence was that kind of single or like a miniature album. That was actually really really good. I like that a lot. Where am I going, by the way? Rusty Dog Pub. Rusty Dog Pubs. That might be a town. Yeah, Tool for sure. Yeah, I liked a lot of Tool. I think I liked his. Was he Perfect Circle as well? I think. Like some of their stuff too. Recently getting into a lot of Cell Dwellers projects. Cell Dweller proper. Was it Circle of Dust, I think? Is one of his other things. Scandroid. And he has like a whole label with a bunch of people under them I've been listening to. He's an extremely prolific, really, really multi-talented guy. Cell Dweller. I like his stuff. I've been listening to I've been wanting to get into Nine Inch Nails Ghosts. I like a lot of their albums, but Ghosts I haven't gotten into yet. I did not like his one album he did with that one band where he toured with a couple years ago. I could not get into that. Bad Witch or whatever it was. I was like, not really feeling it. Like every other album he does, I'm usually pretty into, but that one I wasn't really feeling. Dog and Pub, what was it? The Rusty Dog Pub. All right, 5 hours. Let's do it. I might have to take a rest here. But yeah, I've also I'm trying to remember what their name was. I think I had tickets to go see them this year. I'm trying to remember what they're called. Electronic, almost industrial electronic band. Crap, what were they called? I could probably Google it, but I don't want to stop the stream for it. Oh no. No thanks, Mr. Spider. I'm out. Frontline Assembly, I think, right? Yeah, that's the name of it. They're really cool. I like a lot of their music. I liked a bit of Breaking Benjamin. I remember some of the stuff they did earlier on was pretty good. Also, like, I think they did a song for one of the Halo soundtracks. I think about the Halo 2 soundtrack way back and from my my CD player, and I'd replay it and repeat, and Breaking Benjamin song was on that loop. It was a lot of fun. Oops. What are some other bands I was into? Like my playlist, like you wouldn't find any rhyme or reason. I have a lot of really weird, random, obscure stuff on my playlist. So, but hopefully from that you can kind of garner some of the stuff I like. I'm not like a one genre person, but if I had to pick one thing just kind of listen to regularly, I usually pick electronic, just because it's kind of easy to get into. Very has a nice rhythm to it. You can kind of just really crank at work or whatever. Listen to some oh yeah, like also like big beat stuff, like the oh, what the hell? What's going on? Who's attacking me? What in the frick? Another bard? Well, that was surprising. Maybe that was in the damn, okay. The Toad and Chasm. And why is there freaking bat here now? Never mind that guard. Okay, so there's three. Damn, I better save here. I was killed by that bard. There's three taverns here. So what is this then? Toad and Chasm, okay. So somebody in this place I need to talk to. I'm trying to think of some other bands that I was into. Yeah, big beat stuff from the 90s. Really liked Crystal Method. Crap, what are some of the other ones? The guys who did Galvanize. That was... what are some of the other big beat bands from that era? But yeah, like the kind of heavy drums, heavy bass kind of electronic bands of late 90s, early 2000s, I was pretty addicted to for a while. I still listen to them a lot. Oh, Chemical Brothers. Yeah, that was another one I was thinking of. Who's this guy? Okay, there. By the beard of Thorig. Cornell, you're a lifesaver. Turns out someone saw me with a ruby, and they figure it's the stolen gem. This hunk of lodestone will be my ticket out of here. Remind me to buy you a drink sometime. Now hurry back to Albister Wickhouse. They're going to be real suspicious if you're not back in 5 days. Okay. Oh, I was on steal mode. That's bad. I should probably rest up a little bit. What's up, my man? Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about that 10-cent thing in System Shock 3. I know that game's been in kind of jeopardy for a while. I know that they were involved. I don't know how involved, but they were involved with, what are those guys? Starbreeze. which they made great games, but I heard some pretty bad things about some of the upper executives in that company, like somebody got arrested and things like that. Never a good sign. I'm gonna back up here for a bit. These guys gonna have their space. But yeah, no, it's really too bad about that, because that game looks like it was pretty far along. I mean, their trailers showed some pretty fairly well polished gameplay, and I think their second or third trailer looked considerably better than their first trailer. First trailer was a bit too clean and bright, so the later ones looked a bit more moodier, which is good. So Upmont. Okay, so I should go back to Upmont. But yeah, that game can't catch a break, it seems. Now, the weird thing is, like, I thought it was being developed by Other Side. I'm hoping it's still being developed by the same team with Warren and all those people. It sounded a bit disconnected, though. So if they sold off the property and some other team is involved, then I have zero faith in it, to be honest. But if it's still being developed by the Other Side, and they just basically got a fairly long leash from an investor or a new publisher or whatever, there's still potential it could be good, but who knows at this point. I just don't like the idea of Tencent basically buying out half the industry. I am not really into that prospect. Because unfortunately, not to get political, but with that government can't really separate. With that kind of government, you can't really separate the companies from the government entirely. It's unfortunate, but that's the fact of the matter. Yeah, exactly. Warren Spector. I mean, I think people have to kind of. Warren Spector was the Deus Ex guy for sure, but he was the System Shock 1 guy. He didn't really work on System Shock 2. He was System Shock 1. So I was expecting more of a System Shock 1 sequel rather than a System Shock 2 sequel, which would still be really good. I liked some of the changes System Shock 2 made, but I still think System Shock 1, considering its technical limitations, was still really good. But yeah, I mean, that's the. If he's gone, then yeah, I have very little faith for a System Shock 3 that'll be at all faithful. I mean, I was a bit suspicious about the Deus Ex remake, Deus Ex sequels, but the team at Crystal Dynamics, I think it was, no, not Crystal Dynamics. What were the guys that made the Deus Ex remakes? I'm trying to remember now. Anyway, that team did a great job. They did a great job with Human Revolution. Of what we got, they did a great job with Mankind Divided as well. It just was cut short by about a third. But no, I mean, it can happen. Sometimes people who have nothing to do with the original project can do an excellent job. Very few people who had anything to do with Doom made Doom 2016. That was a fantastic game. So it's completely possible. It's just I don't have a whole lot of faith after a really troubled production and switching hands so much that's going to end up the way it is. Good job, Cornell. I hear that Tristor Harsley showed the guards that piece of lodestone they thought was a ruby, and they bought him a drink as an apology. I tell you, ain't no life like the life of a scoundrel. Here's your share of the ruby. 199 gold. You earned it. I'll add that to my stack of 10,000 gold, thanks. Okay, whatever. Oh, I have two of these things. No. Oh, that's Montreal, yeah. I was getting mixed up with Crystal Dynamics because they I think they're published by Eidos, but those are the Tomb Raider guys. Yeah, no, Eidos Montreal were great, and I really feel bad for them, especially if you read about the other stories or hear about the other stories of the games they're working on. They were pitching a like spacefaring Final Fantasy game at one point. Super Bunny Hop did a video on that for a while, and it had some sources and things like that, and it's a really interesting story. I don't know if it would have been a great fit, but you can't accuse them of not trying. I don't know if the talent's there anymore. It's got to be pretty rough because they haven't had like a real crazy big project for a while. Maybe they're secretly working on some kind of next gen thing. Who knows? But unfortunately, I think the dead Deus Ex franchise was put on ice again, which is really sad to hear. Really sad. Oh, what can I buy with all my 199 gold? Oh, so I didn't hear about that. So I'm shocked they were supposed to be Midgul. That's kind of weird. I don't really like that so much. That's almost actually... There's always the prequel problem. The prequel problem is like, for example, you watch Star Wars trilogy. Okay, you got Star Wars, right? The prequel problem is you watch Star Wars prequels, you know that neither Anakin or Obi-Wan can die. Because Anakin and Obi-Wan are in Star Wars the original. That's the prequel problem, is that you know certain events have to take place for the future events to occur. But there's still some things you can kind of explore, new characters you can introduce, and nuance you can introduce into a prequel. So they're not completely useless, but there is a problem with prequels, is because you can't threaten, like you couldn't say, oh, what if Bilbo dies in The Hobbit, because you know that Bilbo is still alive in Fellowship of the Ring. So it takes away a lot of the stakes. It removes a lot of stakes when you do a prequel, because you know that certain events cannot happen. The midquel problem is that you've already gotten pretty much all of your merit from the prequel, but you still are missing certain stakes because of the sequels, so you're kind of like double screwed. You have to kind of make events that are in canon with both the previous and the future installments. So I'm not really into that. I mean, could it be good? Sure. I'm sure it could be great, but it's hard to raise the stakes in that kind of limitation. Finest gear. Deus Ex Ice Baby. Oh, that's too sad. Such a good franchise. I should probably sell my extra stuff too. It's new. Sell one of these suckers. $4,000, nice. Yeah, it's not like you can't have good storytelling in a prequel. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that objectively, there's certain stakes you cannot threaten. You can't say, "Oh God, Bilbo's gonna die in The Hobbit." You can't do that if you've watched Lord of the Rings already. Obviously, The Hobbit was written before Lord of the Rings was even conceived, but speaking from the way from the sequence of how they released the movies, you just can't do that. you can't threaten Anakin Skywalker of dying permanently when you know Darth Vader exists in Star Wars 77. So that's the problem with prequels. It's not an end all. I'm not saying all state prequels will suck inevitably. I'm just saying that is a problem that you cannot overcome. Unless you're going to say, oh, well, this is a different timeline, so anything could happen. I keep on going to the same places. I should go to a different store. No, one named Joe. Yeah, no, immersive sims. Obviously, the presentation, animation, all kind of stuff's gotten a lot better since Deus Ex, considerably. Because Deus Ex was actually a little bit behind the times, even when it launched. I remember Deus Ex was like a little bit like wonky looking, even for its time. But no, I agree that it hasn't really evolved since then, other than presentation. In fact, if you look at the amount of environmental interactivity in Deus Ex 1 compared to Human Revolution or Mankind Divided, in a lot of ways, it's actually less. Like, I'd say that, actually, to Mankind Divided's credit, I'd say that their hub world is actually a bit more articulated and more kind of loops around itself more, and there's more little nooks and crannies to explore than your average Deus Ex 1 location. So they actually improved on that, like level design a bit. But yeah, the amount of there's so many non-interactive objects in those games, and I'm not talking about like turning on a faucet, just like pick items you can't pick up, non-interactive furniture, things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can't really do in the later games that you could do in the earlier games. So and it's hard. I mean, it's really hard to make a world that you can completely turn upside down, literally, in some ways. So I'm not faulting them for that. I'm just saying that objectively, there are more things you can do with the environment in Deus Ex than you could in later games. Honestly, as much people praise Clone Wars and stuff like that, I'm still in the boat that the prequels were a mistake, including Clone Wars, Rebels, all that kind of stuff. It's how do you explain how vastly different all the architecture, all the technology, all the ships, like in Star Wars 77, for example, all the ships are heavily used. They're scraped, they're scratched, they got scorch marks all over them. Everything is in a very worn, heavily used state. It's as if that when the Empire took over, a lot of things froze. You know what I mean? And that's what I kind of loved about Star Wars. It was a very lived-in universe. How is it that all this technology just kind of appeared within 20, 30 years and got incredibly, horrifically banged up and used, and it never existed before then? Like that's my thing. It's like going from like the Renaissance to the 1980s with banged up cars within 30 years. It doesn't make any sense. Like architecturally, technologically, ship-wise, everything. Like it feels like a completely different universe. And because OT Star Wars looks and feels so much different than prequel Star Wars, and then yet they brought OT characters like R2-D2 and C-3PO into the prequels, they stand out like sore thumbs. So just world building wise, production set wise, everything, prequels does not feel like Star Wars to me. How much weight am I carrying of? How much gold? Not to mention their one objective with the prequels was to make the story of Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker more interesting and impactful, and they completely failed on that in every respect of the way. They changed one of the coolest characters in the entire trilogy into a whiny jerk who was tricked, very obviously tricked, into killing infants for an obviously evil man. It was extremely heavy-handed and extremely, I don't know. Okay, somewhere I have 34 kilos of gold on me. I could probably deposit. Oh, it's in a specific bank, though, isn't it? I guess I'll hold on to it for now. Yeah, yeah, Charlotte, I completely agree. One great example of that, some people go to defend it. I don't. I think it's horrible. As hard as I try to like it, I still can't get myself to really like it at all. Twin Peaks, Firewalk with Me. If you've not watched Twin Peaks, don't bother with the movie at all. Just forget the movie exists until you watch the show. The movie ruins the show like you wouldn't believe. Even if you like the movie, do not watch it before you watch the show. But yeah, I don't like it when you retroactively kind of ruin things. Like, you would absolutely not want to watch the prequels of Star Wars before you watch the OT. Like, it's totally designed to watch the OT first. Like, somebody concocted some weird idea where, and supposedly it's okay. I don't like the prequels, so I don't think it would be particularly useful, but somebody concocted a way where if you watch part of a certain part of Phantom Menace, completely skip like I think 90% of Attack of the Clones, and then a certain cut of Revenge of the Sith. Oh wait, no, I got it wrong actually. No, they said watch Star Wars 77. I call that. New Hope's a terrible title. I don't care. Star Wars 77. Then watch Empire, and once you get the twist in Empire, then watch a part of Phantom Menace. Then watch like maybe like a scene or two of some short clip of Attack of the Clones. I think they might even skip Attack of the Clones altogether and go right to Revenge of the Sith, and then you watch Return of the Jedi, and that's supposedly, I forget what they call it. It's a special cut, but yeah, that's their whole way of fixing the prequels. But the problem is if entire entries of your trilogy are skippable, you did something wrong. Like, Star Wars wasn't supposed to be a trilogy. Star Wars was just a movie, and because it became so ridiculously popular, they decided to make a sequel. But they weren't, I don't even know if they fully even planned out a third one yet. They were just making a sequel, and then with the idea that, hey, if this goes well, we'll cross that bridge about the third movie and when it happens. But it was never plotted out from the beginning. That's why it's so wonky, and that's why there's certain aspects of the films that don't really fit because they weren't written from the beginning. But the thing with the prequels is George could have written every single word, scene, and moment in the entire prequel trilogy before he even started filming. He had that opportunity, and he had the time. He had almost over 10 years. Like almost 20 years, actually. So he could have easily done a really, really well flat-out, fleshed, and consistent world, but he just didn't. He pretty much took it on himself for the most part solo, and he didn't have somebody doctor his script or challenge him on it. So it was very, very rough. Didn't even fit with, like, he forgot numbers, like how many years the Republic lasted and everything. Got that off by about 20 I think he said 1,000 years rather than 1,000 generations, something like that. pretty big difference. The one thing, I mean, the prequels music, incredible music, poor handling of the music sometimes, but had great music. Some of the world building was interesting, and some of the choreography was well planned. It just didn't have really any emotional weight to it. Like even the worst choreographed fight in Star Wars OT is better than the best choreographed fight in the prequels, in my opinion, because the fights weren't about the choreography so much; they're about the emotion and the tension and the struggle of power. Like, would I have rathered better fighting? Sure, yeah, obviously, but there was really no. It was just really excellently timed clicking and clacking with swords back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, you could say that's because the Jedi are so good; they know they can read each other's thoughts, etc., etc. Doesn't really matter if you don't feel anything for it. You know what I mean? Like the fight scene at the end of Jedi is extremely clumsy, but it's better than anything else in the entire franchise practically. Such a great moment, like so well done. And you could look at it from a technical standpoint, it's like, yeah, that's not even really fighting, but holy crap, was it incredibly effective. So I don't want to talk about Star Wars. I'm going to streaming on Daggerfall, but whatever. I'm trying to see what these other stores are, but I keep on like missing them by one or two spaces here. And it's about nighttime anyway, so. Oh, most of our fight was like 40 minutes long. That was extraordinarily boring. I remember watching in the theaters. I saw it in theaters in 2005, and I was like, oh, okay. They're still fighting. Okay. Nothing, no lava splatter on them. No. Oh. All right. Sure. Why not? Oh, they're still fighting. Cool. I don't know. Again, that scene was heavily undercut by the prequel problem. You know who's going to win. That's the problem. There was no scenario of which certain things didn't happen in that fight and led to certain other events that you know because you saw the result of it in Star Wars 77. So it's unfortunate, but that's kind of a mechanical problem. And there's really probably a really creative solution to overcome that and get people invested. And some people probably were incredibly invested in that fight scene, but it didn't impact me because I knew it was going to happen. And it took 20 to 30 minutes for that fight scene to result in the result I already knew, which is kind of sad. A couple parts of Return of the Sith were cool. I liked some of the effects that they did on Bad Anakin were kind of interesting. Very on the nose, but they were kind of cool looking. Ian McDiarmid is always super entertaining. That whole plot was pretty badly written and crudely told, but I can appreciate a lot of things back there. And I'm not saying that the OTs were perfect either. They definitely weren't, but yeah. So technical perfection doesn't, if your story is still clumsily told, technical perfection doesn't really carry much weight, Yeah, exactly. Will Turpin, that's a great example. Titanic, you know exactly what's going to happen, but because you're so invested in the characters. But I'll also put a counterpoint to it. You know what's going to happen to the Titanic, so your investment in the characters it's this kind of like this slow crawl to this really horrible impending thing that you know that your character's going to have to overcome. But, and here's a big but that makes Titanic a lot more engaging than something like a prequel to a movie where you know somebody's still alive. These two characters in Titanic, you don't know if they're going to live or not because they weren't in the sequel. You know that Titanic, the ship, isn't going to live, but these characters might. They might or might not. So, kind of brilliant in a way, probably kind of accidental, really, but because you don't know the plight of these characters, as you get more invested with them, you now kind of fear for them because you know what's about to happen. You know what I mean? But when you take a specific set of characters and things happen, and some are alive, some are dead, but then go back 30 years, you already know who's already gonna be alive in 30 years because you've already seen it. So that's the problem. Like if they did Titanic and then did a prequel to Titanic, you'd be like, okay, well, I know that nothing's gonna happen because they are in Titanic. The prequels are attractive is because quite often, to tell an effective story, you usually have to make cuts, you have to make sacrifices, you have to make tragic deaths. So prequels are attractive because you can bring people back to life. But that was a problem in, like, another example, a lot of problems with that, but the Sin City sequel, that did end up becoming a sequel, didn't it? Yeah, you're right. Never mind. That's not a good example. I think it was supposed to be a prequel at one point, but they didn't become a sequel. I think probably why people say Titanic was crap is because it was so overhyped. It was considered like the greatest, most popular movie for a while, and that's naturally going to make people dislike it. But I'd say that it handles its story very, very well, regardless of how hyped it is. But not everybody's going to like it, but I mean, it managed to... and success is not an excuse for... It's not a measure of quality at all, but I don't know where I'm going with that. I want to go to a different place. It's Glen Point. We could go to Northmore. That'd be kind of fun. Westworth. To avoid it, I need to rest. I never could get all the way through Breaking Bad. I heard great things about it, but I'll need to try it at some point. And I know that Better Call Saul will not really resonate at all unless you've seen Breaking Bad. So it's one of those things. Oh, I hear something. Spider! Yeah, I mean, and like you're alluding in the comments, you can tell a story where you give away what's going to happen at the beginning, and how that plays out is what you have to discover. I think that's a little bit of a stylistic thing, and it doesn't always pay off, but it is interesting because sometimes knowing the result or knowing the end can make you interested in what happens earlier on. And get you immediately invested. Like, why did this happen? Like a murder mystery. You know the person died, but you don't know how he died. That's a great example. Is there a Thieves Guild in this place? Ah, there is. Yay, let's check out this Thieves Guild. Oh, I guess all Thieves Guild look, at least these two look exactly the same. Okay. Well, I guess I'm stuck with this layout then. I'm actually shocked that the Snyder Cut is happening, to be honest. See, they had two options. One option was not viable. As much as people wanted to see the Snyder Cut didn't actually exist. The reason is that, yes, I'm actually, as much people give him flack, I'm actually a huge Zack Snyder apologist. I liked a lot of his movies, even ones that people didn't like. Like, I actually genuinely like Sucker Punch, even though a lot of people trashed that movie. Okay, what else do I need to know? Look up on something. Lockpicking. Cool. Ooh, I need to sleep. But the problem with the Snyder Cut is the Snyder Cut didn't actually exist, really. There was probably an outline, or maybe even a rough cut, with unedited, unfinished footage. Like, having done some documentaries on YouTube, like, I'm not saying I'm anywhere near a Hollywood editor at all. Not even close. But I get the idea of the difference between having raw footage. So I do a lot of camera work and stuff too at my day job as well. So I have to deal with a lot with actual footage, green screen, things like that. And these movies are incredibly special effects heavy. You know, pretty much every shot is going to have a special effect or several special effects. These are farmed out to special effects houses and teams and stuff. Sometimes these shots are so complicated, they actually put like little marks in these shots to notate which shot is what, so that when they send this out to like a special effects house and get it back, they know which shot goes where into which particular clip in their timeline. The reason we know this is because people have actually spotted little notations in the special effects in trailers and sometimes even Final Cut. Sometimes those, they forget to remove the notes before the Final Cut goes. So they see like some of the traces of this stuff. Editing a movie nowadays is incredibly complicated, especially if it's like a special effects extravaganza like Justice League is. So there was no movie that they just had to release. So they had two options. They either had to release a very, very unwatchable, probably bad audio. I'm not even joking. A lot of these scenes probably weren't even ADR'd yet. So they probably were using live microphones. They probably sounded like a bad YouTube production. Were in front of a green screen half the time. Had none of the dubbed in sound effects like punching and kicking and like zoom and splat and kabang and all other stuff. So it was like an extremely unwatchable, like you could only, its only use was seeing roughly how the story would progress. None of the real like heavy hitting production value or entertainment value was there really. It was just like, okay, we see the acting technically, we see the characters technically, and we know roughly what's going to happen. But imagine seeing Cyborg without all the green screen and stuff like that. He'd probably look like a joke every time he's on the screen. So it was an unwatchable version of the film. So they couldn't release that because that would just be embarrassment. On the other hand, you have to put about $20-30 million or whatever they're paying to actually put in those special effects, composite those scenes, do all that stuff, all the dubbing, all the ADR and everything like that. So it was kind of a lose-lose situation because you're risking $30 million on something that may be a flop, or you're releasing something that's just going to be an embarrassment. So luckily somebody put the bill to actually to create the Snyder Cut as it was meant to be seen, and hopefully it's good. I mean, 4 hours of what has been probably a superior version of a very flawed film may be good, maybe about the same. But it's really curious because one of the most interesting things you can do is like, for example, it wasn't transformative, but sometime if you have like 4 hours to spare, make that Mark 5, get both the theatrical cut and the director's cut of Legend. Not a great film. I don't think it's that great of a film, but Legend by Ridley Scott. The theatrical cut is about almost an hour shorter, has a completely different soundtrack, and an incredibly different feel to it. It's very fast-paced. It's got a synthesizer soundtrack, and it's almost like kind of upbeat, feel-good high fantasy or whatever. Whereas the director's cut has a symphonic soundtrack, much slower, a little bit too slow actually, in my opinion, but feels very different. And neither cut is perfect because the movie isn't very that great. It's memorable, but it's not that great. But you can see how different a cut can be from those two things, because it's almost a whole hour difference in terms of the cuts. But yeah, I think that I think as a visual director, I think that Zack Snyder is incredible. He can do some incredible good shots. Like you watch Watchmen, or even Sucker Punch has some just amazingly creative and really interesting visual shots with storytelling and things like that, right? He's just not always the best with actually, definitely not writing, but kind of handling the. Oh, hey there, Mr. Bat. What are you doing here? He kind of muddles up the storytelling. So if he had a really good writing / storytelling directing partner that could actually fill in the holes that he doesn't quite do that great himself, that'd be perfect. Like, I don't know who he worked with I know that David Hayter wrote Watchmen. I don't know who else was on that project off the top of my head, but again, with a really good team, I think that Zack Snyder could do some really amazing stuff. Unfortunately, he had to kind of pull out because they were doing reshoots. They were changing the tone and the feel of the movie, and also tragically his daughter died, so he had to back out for personal reasons. So that's why that movie didn't really end up very in the same hands throughout the whole process. And he's so different from the way that Joss Whedon handles the movie, so it's obvious why there was a very big disconnect between their two styles. They're very different types of directors. Yeah, it's argued that directors that Ridley Scott invented the director's cut. It's definitely argued that he at least made it popular. I don't know if he invented it, but he definitely made it popular with Blade Runner. I'm kind of running aimless here. What time is it? It's 10:24. Okay. We do another quest. Could just go to a tavern and do a quest, I suppose. Felt a little bit burned by not getting that great of a quest from Thieves Guild, but I guess I could ask for another one. Sure, why not? Southeast. Southwest. Yeah, I mean, he definitely improved Legend with his director's cut. There's no question about it. I'd rather watch the director's cut than the original. But in the end, the footage is the footage. You can polish that apple, but if it's rotten in the core, it's not gonna be a satisfying experience. So it just wasn't. The problem with Legend is that there just wasn't much to it. There wasn't really much story that happened. I barely remember what happens in that story, and the not much happening in the theatrical cut is so fast. You're like, oh, what happened? Oh, what? He's free now? Oh, he came out of the water now? Oh, what? Oh, it's the end now? Okay, wow. And so it just kind of goes by in a blitz. Whereas the theatrical cut is like really just lingers on some scenes for a long time. And although it's more enjoyable, I guess, and more helps these scenes breathe, there's still not a whole lot that happens in the film. That's what I felt was the main sticking point of that film is just not enough happens. So either fast forward through nothing happening, or you really, really absorb all the nuances of nothing happening. Cornell, a simple game, an item in a house that needs lifting. Are you up for it? Yeah, there we go. There's some thieving. That's the spirit. As I said, nothing complicated about this job. A client wants to get a hold of a certain antique ivory piece which currently resides in the Woodcroft residence here in Westworth. You have 2 days to bring it to me. For Finders Via 237. Woodcroft residence. Okay. Unfortunately, I'll have to ask somebody where that is, but it's nighttime. Maybe the guards can help me around. Help me out. Yeah, I would like to hear about the story of Orson Welles, because he was a guy who hit his peak in his first movie. Oh, I can ask the guards. There we go. Mortister, Woodfield. Woodcroft residence, east. Okay, worked on my map. Woodcroft residence. Let's go over there and sneak. But yeah, Orson Welles, he was like a really young, brilliant, good-looking director / actor. Like rare combo, really rare combo at the time. And he makes like one of the most celebrated, amazing movies ever, and really ahead of its time. Really like state-of-the-art storytelling. And then he almost does nothing that great since then. I saw A Touch of Evil, and I was not really compelled by it. And it wasn't that much later, but he seems almost like a different person by then. Like he'd already been horribly defeated. I don't know if he just took to drinking that early or what, but yeah, it was kind of sad to see how much he had changed since Citizen Kane. Oh, guess I don't have to break it. Well, hello there, lady. I'm totally not stealing your antique ivory or anything. Got some books. Ma'am, you would not be in possession of some antique ivory, would you? I've been meaning to check out The Third Man. That was like that kind of noir film, right? I remember seeing, I think Razorfist did a video on that. Uh-oh. Okay, somebody doesn't want me to get this ivory. By the beard of Thorhig, you're a feisty one, ain't ya? But get out of here before I have to really hurt you. Oh, okay. This Redguard scum killed Mordector Greenwing. Okay. I'll have to look into his other stuff. I really like him as a performer, and I really like. I think Citizen Kane obviously deserves a lot of the praise it gets, but I haven't really seen him in another role that was nearly as compelling. Yeah, interestingly enough, Orson Welles says, "Oh, there's the ivory." Okay. He says, I haven't heard that quote, but George Lucas says a lot of the same things where sound is really, really important. Like 50% of the movie experience or whatever. Which, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I mean, you can listen to audio plays with like the music and stuff like that, kind of like simulate like a movie experience with just the audio. They're definitely entertaining, for sure. But You can also watch movies without sound and get a lot from them as well. That's actually a really good way of judging a movie, I think. If you can kind of get the plot by just watching without any sound. A lot of movies rely on heavy exposition, and so if you see people moving their mouths but you have no idea what they're talking about or what's happening, that's usually a sign of a lazy screenplay. Not only the script, but like a screenplay. Like they're not making the people do anything or emote, or they're not blocking them in an interesting way to kind of explain what's happening. That's such a weird cat sound effect. Where's the cat? You're back here. Cat. Of course, now he's not going to make a sound. Now he makes a sound. So I got it. So I just need to go back to the Thieves Guild. That's a west. Yeah, no, Citizen Kane was a surprisingly modern film for its time. Another movie that really held up very well was both from like a cinematography and modernist standpoint, I think, was Dr. Zhivago. That movie feels a lot more modern than it is. Like, you can tell from the hairstyles and the film quality a little bit that it was made a long time ago, but it still had a really kind of modernish feel to it. I didn't lock that, Ossifer. Oh, wrong place. My bad. Mr. Guildmaster. Cornell, what are you doing here? I don't know how you could botch such a simple job, but if you don't get yourself and that blasted ivory out of town, we're all going to end up in the slammer, or worse. I don't give a damn about your skin, but the Thieves Guild has a reputation to uphold. We promised our client that item. Get it over to the Bat and Scorpion Hostel. Elizabeth Masterheart will meet you in the Ashton residence there. Don't screw up again. Wait, what? I wasn't told to do that. I guess there's a twist that was supposed to happen. I don't know. It just kind of told me off for doing exactly what I thought I was supposed to do. So, all right. So, Elizabeth Masterheart at the Ashton residence in the Bat and Scorpion Hostel. Okay, so I got to get out of here. Got to skedaddle. Let me get out of here. This place has walls, doesn't it? It does, yeah. If I go straight here, I should go through the wall, though. I guess don't make sounds when you look at them because they don't want you to get your tongue back from them. That's funny. Interestingly, I don't... Is this a thing that certain towns do, or is this a Daggerfall Unity quirk? Towns are supposed to close their doors at night. Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, in the original game, the town's doors were always closed. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so something, the Bat and something hostile. The Bat and Scorpion hostile. Scorpion hostile. Let's do it. You interrupt your journey. Oh. Enemies nearby. Ow. Okay. I'm out. Huh, interesting. I don't know what the requirements are then, because normally it would just automatically close at a certain time of day. What are you doing over here, guard? Room at Rusty Jack. Oh, I hit the wall. Funny. Okay, who wants to kill me? Somebody wants to kill me. Ah, jeez. Oh, there's like 4 people. Maybe I'll run away from that. Really great music. This is some really good covers as well. A lot of these were done for the Dagger XL project and were repurposed in a mod. Good thing too, because a lot of this music is so well done, it's a shame that it wasn't used for an actual game. Yes. Bat and Scorpion Hotel, here we come! You interrupted your journey. I didn't interrupt my journey, you did. Where are these guys? Oh, there's one of them. I think. You know how to deal with murdering scum like you. Mordector Greenwing, just be careful not to get any blood of a grower in Wickwing's ivory when you cut this red guard's throat. Okay. These guys are gonna probably mess with me up. As of yet, I don't know if there's any mods to add more than just like the top of red guard. A little bit of High Rock, Orsinium, and red guard. I think are the 3 places you get. The map is pretty damn big, yeah. And it'd be kind of super cool to take some of the data from Arena and import it into Daggerfall, but that would be completely reinterpreted. It wasn't at all the same, not even the same engine, so it'd be tough to do that for sure. Oh, Dragonling. Compared to the other guys, Dragonlings are actually fairly easy. Always terrifying, but where you be? Oh, more bows and arrows. That's original. This is a full remake of the Daggerfall engine in Unity. It pulls assets from Daggerfall in real time, so it actually has to be installed over a working Daggerfall installation. But the good news is that Daggerfall is freeware, so you can actually get the whole package all together, and it's really, really clean and simple. But yeah, and I've got a ton of mods, including a fast travel mod, which actually lets me see all of the land I'm traveling over, and I can choose whether to do it at 1x speed, 10x speed, up to 100x speed, which is the fastest, obviously. Yeah, really cool. And I've got some mods. I'm even running Reshade, so I can actually tweak a lot of the settings here and do some crazy stuff, like bloom. You know, turn bloom on and off. Tint, which I don't think I'm in there. One of the things I had on earlier was the adaptive fog. Oh, that's kind of broken. Cinematic depth of field is one thing I wanted to get working, but unfortunately it kind of messed up in some cases. But let's see if I can get it to work. Like, for example, if you're close up to something, everything in the background gets all blurry. You see that. Or if I'm looking far away, the things in the foreground get blurry. Really cool, like, little detail effect. You can wrap, because it's just a Unity game, essentially you can wrap Reshade and other stuff on it and kind of do some cool tweaking, as well as many gameplay changes too. Like I changed fast travel. I changed a lot of the other. There's some role playing mods that add a lot of detail to. Oh, what happened there? Why do I keep on zooming in? That's weird. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff, and makes it a lot more moddable, a lot more scalable to the modern systems, etc. Yeah, that was a while ago. Let's see. So must be this place because it's like the only. Oh, it's the Ashton residence. Okay. You know about the Ashton residence. Go east. Okay. So it is right here. For some reason I can't zoom out anymore. It's so weird. I heard about that movie. Was that movie the weird foreign film Stalker, which parts of the earlier cut got irradiated, so they had to reshoot it? Some weird stories about that movie. It's the one, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Hey there, guy. Something's funky. Did I accidentally hold down a button somewhere? Yeah, all my maps are like in constant scroll mode. That's weird. Okay, so assuming it's just this guy. No? Elizabeth Masterheart. Is there somebody else here? Yep, she's here. Well, if it isn't Cornell, the inept cat burglar. At least you managed to get through with the item. Says something about your brawn, if not your brains. You didn't actually expect to still get paid, did you? Well, screw you then. Somehow I screwed up by fighting that person, I guess. That's too bad. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. Yeah, I'm curious to see what Ghost of Tsushima is like. I've liked Sucker Punch's other games, so I hope it's good. People still after me? Apparently. It doesn't seem quite as original as... It's an absolutely gorgeous looking game. I don't know if it'll be quite as original as people are saying. It kind of looks like sort of a... You know... dare I say... Assassin's Creed-esque game, but, you know, we'll see. Hopefully it has... I do like the kind of interesting, methodical samurai combat. I just hope it isn't... I hope it isn't just like you can just button mash to get through those fights. I'm hoping it's actually pretty difficult and precise. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I mean, some movies I respect more than I actually enjoy. Oh, here we go. Here's a super chat that worked. Thanks, Anna, for the donation. So thank you so much. It's weird it wasn't working for the other people. Yeah, that's so messed up that the toxicity of where they were shooting ended up killing all those people. That's really, really too bad. So I don't think I'll get any reward for doing that, apparently, because I apparently botched the quest. Kind of a shame. That's what happened. Yeah, okay. So that was kind of too bad. Yeah, I streamed Kingdom Come once or twice. I was running into some pretty bad bugs with it. I really liked where it was going. Took me a while to get my head around the combat system in that game. But I did like where it was going. Very kind of... It was a bit handholdy in the first 4 hours or so, but as it was opening up, I was really enjoying that aspect. And obviously, really, really great production values. And because not many games do the just straight-up medieval setting, I kind of admired the uniqueness of not going fantasy for once. So... Anyway, just because my map thing's kind of working weirdly, and I'm kind of in a weird middle spot, I'll probably end up here. Not my longest stream, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. We got into the Thieves Guild, stole some things, which was fun, screwed up a quest, and had some weird hijinks along the way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Yeah, I'll probably... I don't know if I'll do more Daggerfall next week, but we'll see. I might mix it up. I'm not... No promises, but we'll see how it goes. But thanks so much for watching, and hope you guys have the rest of the week. Great rest of the week. Thanks so much. Bye.